It's always great. I mean, this gentleman, for us, a basketball treasure chest right here in our midst. And we feel like we became fair weather, a bandwagon jumping friends because we wait until he beats Duke and once again finds a way to just befuddle Coach K at Cameron Indoor with these crazy nutbags just yelling and screaming and trying to intimidate the hell out of his team. Goes in there and beats Duke. And that's when we say, hey, you know what? We ought to have Jim Larinaga on the show. But, Jim, I assure you, you're always in our hearts. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. I always like talking to the guys who jump on the bandwagon midway through the trip. So.
Jim Larinaga is coming on the show on Thursday. Let me watch the game against FSU because that was a hell of a ball game. But, a real tough way to end the 9-game winning streak.
We go to FSU. We take a 1-point lead with 7 seconds to go. And they go in for a driving layup, and unfortunately there's a foul called, and they make 2 free throws to beat us at the end.
Do you get that call or make that call in the park if you're, calling fouls on yourself? Do you get that call at the end of the game? What do you think?
I grew up playing in the park in a place called Parkchester in the Bronx. Oh. And if any of my competitors had called that a foul at the end of a 1-point game, there would have definitely been fisticuffs.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Money, feeling kind of funny. Tuesday, Wednesday, man, think about money. Break out in the cold sweat, thinking about that winning bet. Thursday night, I'm feeling alright. Degenerate Friday's in my side. Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. I said Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. The Defo told Jersey if I had my way, every single day will be Degenerate Friday. Well, Lubie don't like it, but that's okay. Jimmy Martin's gotta pick the winners in the way. Yeah, it's my favorite day of the week. Got me on a winning streak. Boys down deal, they love the show. They follow our picks and make some dough. Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. I said Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. Defo told you if I had my way, every single day will be Degenerate Friday.
All right, there we go. Welcome to this edition of a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and we're very happy to have you with us. We had to switch a few things around this week because of Lubie's call to duty. That was jury duty, which fortunately for whoever was being criminally accused, he was not finally called because that would have been very, very strange to have him as a jury foreman.
He's guilty. He's guilty. I'm telling you. I know he did it. We didn't even deliberate.
No deliberation is necessary. You usually don't deliberate before you deliver some of your opinions here on the show. In fact, a lot of times you haven't even seen the game and don't even know what we're talking about, and yet you say,
you know what, he sucks.
That's what we love about you. All right, so we had to move a few things around. John Congemi is going to go Dateline Dolphins with us, although the Dolphins don't have much of a date with anything except trying to find a new coach after they mysteriously fired Brian Flores, wow, I mean, you talk about getting the propaganda out there. They've painted Flores to be the biggest asshole that ever walked the sidelines in the NFL. Whatever publicity machine the Dolphins have going, I mean, they're certainly not very good at convincing people that the team is going in the right direction, but they are good at convincing people that whoever they had as a head coach was awful and should have never been there in the first place. That's kind of the... That's kind of the word that's cranking out of the Dolphins' offices right now. Now, here's a guy that always gives you the straight story. And normally we'd spend like an hour or so with Jersey Kyle here. John Congemi is going to be with us. And, of course, we have a giant commitment there with Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. And we would like to get some kind of intellectual analysis on these football games that are taking place. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. A lot of people in wild anticipation. Going to be a great weekend of NFL football. And after this weekend of NFL football, for the next week of the playoff round, we will be in Las Vegas. We being Jersey Kyle and me. And, of course, out there in the woodwork, handicapping his brains out, will be Evan Don't Mention My Name, courtesy of the victory he had at the Hialeah Park tournament. He won a seat at the National Handicapping Championship, $1 million on the line. And Jersey and I are there. I guess you would consider it moral support. Although, Jersey, how are you, first of all? Jersey Kyle Martinez joining us here via telephone on the program. And, Jersey, how are you on this fine day? I guess you're not very good. Lubie, you might want to punch up a button so you can hear Jersey Kyle. Jersey Kyle with us here on the line. Jersey, how are you, my friend? Another futile attempt. All right, see if you can clear that up, Lubie, because here's the thing, and I don't know if anybody feels comfortable going out to Las Vegas with a guy who is absolutely ice cold. I'm talking frozen tundra. I'm out at the track last Saturday, and I'm getting buried. And, of course, everybody else is winning money. They're all dancing in the streets. Everybody is just having a fine old time, plunging away and making all kinds of winning bets, doing ridiculous things, wheeling 40-1 shots, 50-1 shots. They, of course, come romping home. And I get the report after the fact when, it was one of those days when you get to your car and you swear off gambling from that point on. And sure enough, Kyle calls me later and says, man, it's too bad you weren't here. We all made money. Just absolutely fantastic. So, ice cold. And I've been going that way for, I would have to say, I don't even like to admit this, like my last 8 to 10 trips to the racetrack, with one exception, have all been losers. And the one exception was far from enough of a financial windfall to compensate me and accommodate me for all the money that I lost. My mother is rolling over in her grave. She really is. Well, no, actually, she's upstairs there in an urn or whatever. Still in a box. Is that kind of cold? My mother's ashes? They're still in the post office box that they came in. I don't know if they come in any kind of... What would they just put them in a plastic bag? Is that the way that the... You don't get much for the lowest level of cremation. And I know it's like blasphemy, right? Jews don't get cremated, do we? I mean, that's sort of against the whole cultural thing that we're all about. Cremation, no good.
Not supposed to. I mean, if it happens, I don't know. I don't know if it's the end of the world.
I don't think it can't be. Yeah. All right. We have Jersey Kyle with us. Jersey, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Did Lubie just say if it happened? Like, how could it just happen that you got cremated? Like, would you fall into a fire and just burn up?
A bomb or something. I mean, you still get to be in the Jewish cemetery, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Listen, it's Rabbi Lubitz over here pronouncing it okay to do something that is in open defiance of all Jewish traditions and the conditions. So, Jersey, I was just saying before we got you on the phone finally, hooked up here, as we depart for Las Vegas next Thursday, and that's less than a week away. Is it okay to go with a guy who's absolutely ice cold? Because Vegas is not necessarily a place to fix that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Do you turn it around in Vegas, or do you just get bludgeoned even more so and leave there bleeding from every pore?
Do you have any idea why you're so cold lately? I mean, is there something that you...
No, I don't know. I think things are going well in other aspects of life. I mean, kind of coming from nowhere a few months ago, all of a sudden things are looking very rosy in terms of jobs, career opportunities, things that I never thought would be in front of me. Like this camera, all of a sudden, are in front of me, and it's great, and I'm very optimistic, and yet I can't cash a ticket at the track. That one day we were out there, I was winning for a while, and I still ended up a loser that day. I still got stuck for $100, even though I was well up at one point in time. Now, you're sending it in with both fists, and I'm still playing kind of the same lame game that I always have. Maybe I need to change my strategy, but do you feel comfortable? And even more importantly, Evan, who's going to be the guy with $1 million riding on his back here, if he can win the National Handicapping Championship, he's very... You talk about idiosyncratic, right? The guy's going to be wearing a welder's mask on the plane because of not even Omicron, whatever the thing was before that. That's the one he's worried about, right? He hasn't even caught up to the whole Omicron craze. But do you feel comfortable? Is it good to go with a guy who's riding such a losing streak that the only thing that can happen while he's out in Las Vegas is that, speaking of cremation, he ends up getting financially buried?
Yeah, I don't know what his thoughts are. I mean, really, he kind of does stay to to himself. He doesn't really want any he doesn't want any input from you or I. Obviously, he doesn't feel that we are, in his caliber of handicapping, which, I'm really sure that we're not. I mean, you and I have always, come up with, a sign from the gambling gods, that we think might mean something. Actually, tomorrow, we get a little more practice in tomorrow before the trip. A nice Saturday, scheduled out at Gulfstream Park. Some great racing coming up this weekend. We're going to be in a plane on Thursday. There's a horse in the 6th race tomorrow called Up in the Air, which, I think fits, and he's 5-1 in the morning line. And then in the very next race, at Gulfstream Park, there's a horse called Always Gambling, which I think we'll be doing
there you go.
For probably 4 days straight. So, I mean, if this daily double can come in tomorrow in race 6 or 7, I think our luck is going to change. Up in the Air in the 6th and Always Gambling in the 7th, really depicts our trip to Vegas. And, I think it could be a change of luck for you. And then maybe take Mom's ashes out of that plastic bag and put them in
the suitcase. Yeah.
Put them over the street.
I have to take her with me. I'm taking her money with me. What are you talking about? You think she's happy about this?
I think if you bring her with us to Vegas, I think it could be a good luck charm, but just dress her up in a nice vase or something. Don't just bring a plastic bag, like you would bring a sandwich with you or something. Come on.
Yeah, just be in a vase at least. She's not in a vase.
I don't know. I mean, they rip you off blind at the places where they do cremations, the funeral home. They rip you off blind for any upgrade over the plastic bag. Like the next cheapest thing is like $1,000, and you're thinking, so what's the difference there, right? They're ashes to ashes, dust to dust, my friend. Well, let me ask you this, because it got enhanced again last night, this cold streak that I'm on, right? Because remember I was whining for about 2 months, 3 months that I had meatloaf in the dead pool. All right, so Betty White checks out, and that took down the pool, and I didn't have Betty White, although I had her in previous Deadpool draws, and yet I never was able to cash. I had Lasorda before, he checks out. I had John Madden, he checks out. I had Betty White, she checks out. And then I had Meatloaf in the previous draw that was just taken down when Betty White passed away recently. And we redrew names, and I end up with Terry Bradshaw, who looks fine with me. I mean, to me, Terry Bradshaw doesn't look like he's on the threshold of death.
No.
And Ozzy Osbourne, who you thought, okay, maybe a shot with Ozzy, right? Maybe a shot, but probably not. Because all of these guys that were rock stars, 30, 40 years ago, they've all gone on health nut kicks, right? I mean, they're eating grape nuts for dinner. So anyway, sure enough, Meatloaf checks out like a couple of days. If it hadn't been for Betty White, I mean, I would have taken it down with Meatloaf. Several times I would have had in my pocket to go to Vegas, but the fact that I had him in just the previous pool just further exasperates and exaggerates the fact that I am ice. I don't even want to use this word. I'm ice fucking cold, Kyle. I mean, talk me out of going to Vegas right here in the show, please. Talk me out of it.
I believe if we could get a hold of Loaf right now, which I know is tough to do since he's checked out, but the Loaf probably knows how cold you are and wishes that you still had him in the pool.
Exactly.
Still be alive.
He'd be alive today if I still had him in the pool. If Betty White hadn't died, Meatloaf would still be with us, people. There you go.
Yeah, you would still have the Loaf walking around, but no. You killed the Loaf. It's unbelievable the luck you have.
I'm having no luck in life right now, and no luck in death. I mean, where do you turn after that? There aren't many alternatives, my friend. It's going to be kind of crazy. So I'm just telling you up front. I mean, and you've seen me at the track. I mean, look, I looked a little pale there last Saturday, did I not? As I made my second trip to the ATM machine in the same day, which is devastating. And look, there's no lying to the wife anymore about what happened with the money. You can't say, well, I bought gas 3 times on the way home because, we're talking about Well, maybe you could get away with that, right? It would have cost you about $500 to buy gas.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, this stuff shows up on a bank statement right away. Those ATM withdrawals, and it's pretty obvious. Do they have to put the location there? Can't they just put like 4X's where it's Gulfstream Park? Wouldn't you think that would be, an appropriate consideration for the many patrons that come out there and get clobbered while they're betting horses? I mean, they make their money off the handle. They don't care if you win or lose. It means nothing to them. They'd probably rather see you win, so you keep coming back and churning the money. But, I mean, do they have to have? I mean, in giant capital letters, it says withdrawal, Gulfstream Park, flashing, multicolored, right there in the bank statement. Alarms go off in the house as soon as you hit that machine. It's kind of crazy the way it's connected, almost like having a LoJack in your rear end, and she tracks you right there to the races. But yeah, ice cold and Meatloaf checking out. I don't know. A lot of people were moved by that, and I had to go to the porcelain throne there and just throw up. I couldn't believe how bad I'm swinging right now. So good luck with us, Jersey Kyle. Yeah. He's rolling though, Lubie. I mean, this guy is on like an unwavering, swashbuckling roll like I've never seen. You were dancing there at Gulfstream Park last Saturday, dancing all the way to the windows, especially when you made that bet that was fueled by a mush, which I thought that was sensational logic on your part. That guy Lee, who leaves out 3 horses, and you wheeled them all, and of course they ran 1, 2, 3. You're collecting what, $800 on an exacta? I think you had it for $3, like 12 sticks. And Lee's with his hands over his face, going, "I can't believe I left out the one." That pig that won and paid $80. That was amazing. You had it.
Yeah, no, that was great. And sometimes, like you say, you just got to watch what's going on around you. I mean, I feel for you. That you got nabbed with the ATM withdrawals. But, I mean, I knew a guy that would drive to the Aventura Mall and withdraw money there and then come back to the track. So if his wife...
Yeah, but then don't you have to have a gift? You have to have a gift.
Well, he would.
Yeah, you'd buy something too, right? On a credit card.
Yeah, he would always pick up a small bottle of perfume or something for his wife and then say, "Yeah, I went to the mall to get you something, honey." And it worked.
Well, I didn't know a Simiyaki cost $800 for a small vial. So where's the rest of the money, Jack? I don't know. No, women can see through this stuff. Are you kidding me? And plus the assumption, once you're with a degenerate gambler for a while, if you're a female, you assume the worst at all times. I mean, even if the guy did go and buy you a gift, you figured, he only did it because he was losing 600 at the track. So, they see right through that stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like our guys, we walk into a bar, around 7:30 after the races, and a guy comes up and says he's buying, and obviously, the only reason he's buying is because he hit something at the track. I mean, the guy usually doesn't go for anything, I mean, what you hit is usually the first line you hear from the guys at the bar. I'm a little worried. Your streak has been very, very ice cold. And
Meatloaf.
I was wondering if meatloaf.
I can't even eat meatloaf ever again, man, and I love meatloaf. I have some turkey meatloaf in the refrigerator, and I fired it into the trash this morning.
Screw you.
A very expensive turkey meatloaf that was purchased at Whole Foods, as in Whole Paycheck Foods, as the joke goes. Right. Like $8 more per slice than it was at Publix, which was already a little bit outrageous.
I was wondering if I could ask you a question. As of Thursday, when we're going out to Vegas, could you change your flight, please? I don't even want to see that flight.
Exactly.
That G5 thing or whatever that is, with the phones is probably, going to make our arrival in Las Vegas very suspect because you're literally going with a guy who is in Arctic tundra mode. I mean, we should have just gone to Lambeau Field with Mark instead of going to Vegas. I think we would have been better off because I would have blended right in with the temperatures.
Yes,
That's cold how cold I am. All right, cheers. You have a good one. We're going to get into some football analysis that we missed here on Monday and Tuesday's show because Lubie went on jury duty like a fool and couldn't figure out the easy way to dodge that is just not show up. And then when they come for him, he says, what letter? I didn't get any notice. What are you talking about? Woman? What woman? So have a good one, Jersey. We'll line up again Thursday. And, of course, that'll be an early morning flight out to Las Vegas. And Optimistically, I'm going to bring the usual empty duffel bag just in case we make a score.
Sounds like a good thing to do. I believe your luck is going to change, and I think you're going to have a great 4 days in Viva Las Vegas. So let's hope for the best.
I think we're going to walk out of there like Clooney and Brad Pitt in like Ocean's 11, man. Just with sacks full of cash that we stole right out of the MGM safe. All right, Jersey, thanks for joining us here. Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Always a pleasure, my friend. And as they say, Viva. We'll see you in Vegas, all right? I guess I was all right with him. All right, we're coming back. John Congemi going to join us. It's a little Dateline Dolphins. The Dolphins are sort of irrelevant at this point, except for their coaching search, in which they are not alone, as a lot of teams are scrambling to find a new head coach. We'll get into some of that with John Congemi and his football analysis and try and get some kind of a feel for these 4 playoff games. That's coming up in just a moment here. Don't forget about our friends at Hialeah Park. And, wow, it's only a week away, Lubie. I mean,
Yes,
did we line up your tickets with Frankie yet?
I'll reach out to Frankie this weekend.
Sure you're not inclined to go online and buy a couple, but, the other people are. They're gobbling them up quickly. And that's for the boxing that's taking place at Hialeah Park, and that's going to be happening next Friday. That's the 28th of January, and it's going to be a sensational card. Highlighted by many. I mean, these are not flash-in-the-pan Cuban fighters. These are guys that already have established themselves with a nice track record as pros, and everybody is just absolutely scintillated with excitement about where these guys might go. You never know. I mean, if you have like 4 or 5 really hot Cuban fighters, if 2 of them go on to the same kind of distinction and acclaim that some of the others before them have, then that's really a home run. And you get to see these guys firsthand at Hialeah Park on Friday night. It's going to be just a spectacular scene, and you're going to love every second of it. So go to HialeahPark.com, order your tickets. You can get them at the box office at Hialeah Park. Open till 5 a.m. tonight. That's right. They just kind of stay open all through the night, and then they just close down for a couple of hours because of the ridiculous, psychotic Florida regulations. And they reopen again at 9 o'clock, and you can start having fun again till 5 on Saturday as well. Great place to take in the football games, too. Wow. Imagine. Because food and drink there, I mean, it's got to be a lot cheaper than it would be at a stadium. That's for sure.
Yes. Oh, geez, yes.
And it's a lot better, too, right? They always try to go like convincing people, oh, well, we got much better food now at the concession stands. That's a farce. Yeah, but at the concessions at Hialeah Park, man, I mean, it's like going to a fine restaurant and getting the best of the best, including, and Mike Mayo is in agreement with me. He's going to join us later on. The Cuban sandwich at Hialeah Park, as good as any you will find anywhere in Little Havana. Versailles? Forget about it. You don't want to go there. You want to go to Hialeah Park, where you can gamble your brains out. Champion simulcasting room open tomorrow. You heard Jersey Kyle talking about the great card at Gulfstream. They'll simulcast that for you. So if you're in that part of town, very convenient, and you get that same old school feel that you used to get from the intrinsic and inherent beauty of just hanging out at Hialeah Park. Hialeah Park, great place to go. And don't forget about the boxing coming up on Friday night, a week from today. All right, John's going to join us next to be with us for about an hour. John Congemi, a little Dateline Dolphins coming up, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I'm Jeff Deforrest. Mike Lubitz had a very nice chat with Jack and a lovely Amy from Ion Channel last night. Plans are in place here, and who knows? You, my friend, people will find this strange, but Mike Lubitz could emerge as the biggest star out of our entire collection of characters that we have here on the show.
I'm sure.
Anything is possible, my friend.
I'm sure. I agree.
If Logan Paul could get $50 million for fighting Floyd Money Mayweather in an exhibition,
anything's possible.
Anything is possible. All right, back with more and John Congemi in a moment. Brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Now that
The time.
it is 7:24.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic old Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studiali family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled First Floor Casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always at home.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy, with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Dateline Dolphins with John Congemi, and that's brought to you by Jimmy Johnson in the Keys, and we're looking very much forward to doing some broadcasts there. I think we're going to head down there like once a month during the football season. I have to ask you this, and feel free to, not necessarily spill the beans from a personal standpoint to your good friend Dan Marino. Does he experience, or did he ever experience nightmares about handing the ball off to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that one year when Jimmy insisted on running the ball on every play? And it was always, the announcer, I think it was Ron St. John, was a stadium announcer back then, and you could hear him say, hand off to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Hand off to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, gain of 1, 3rd and 8. Can he ever talk about that? Remember?
No, he really talked about that, Defo. But you're right. I think they did have that on loop at whatever the stadium was called at the time.
It was 1 yard every time. And it was a generous 1 yard they were giving him statistically.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the people at Gulfstream Park, and also brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. It's a pleasure to welcome a little juxtaposition of scheduling, and all based around the fact that Lubie was called for jury duty, and also that John Congemi was a ringer on somebody's charity golf team, although he said he didn't really do that well because he was with a couple of real hackers. So there was tremendous pressure on him. I don't know. He had a couple of guys that own a pawn shop that bought a sponsorship into the tournament. And they said, we want Congemi. They knew he was a ringer. So he ended up having to carry a team on his back. But it was great. I got to meet John earlier this week with Tommy Fox for a little get-together at Bonefish Max.
Nice.
And what is that? Lighthouse Point. And it was great because Tommy still went into the position and started blocking for you as you were making your exit to your car.
He did.
John Congemi, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. Lubie, you look well from going to your civic duty.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things just get lost in the mail. I don't know what happens to them, right, Defo?
That's what I've learned.
I learned that actually my first wife worked for attorneys and was in the legal field for, it still is, I guess. And she told me, hey, how do they know you got the thing? No one ever responds to this. I mean, nobody in the legal field. You'll never see anybody and they might be disqualified anyway. Which the best part was, Lubie, I can't believe it. The guy recognized, the defense attorney recognized Lubie as Lubie.
That's the best. That was the best part of the story.
At the end, he goes, "Yeah, well, what do you think about that, Lubie?" Like, Lubie, who the hell is Lubie? I don't know. Mr. Michael Q. Lubitz to you. All right. You have to be as excited as I am. I know we had a little discussion about this, and a great slate of games. The first week, it was tremendous saturation of football. You had it on Saturday, Sunday, 3 games on Sunday. I think I watched them all. It was one of those rainy days here in South Florida, and I think I had run out of gas completely, so I just watched them all. And then the Monday night game, you didn't have to pay too much attention to because it was blowout city with the Rams and the Cardinals. But very exciting last week, but even more so this week because you've weeded out a couple of the teams that you thought, well, this expansion of the playoffs might not have been such a great idea.
Well, I think you're right. You look at some of those matchups last week and you kind of circled the team with the points and you're going, I think I feel pretty good about it. This week, there's maybe only one outlier to me anyway. I don't know if San Francisco can pack their winter gear, get to Lambeau, and play at a high level like they did last week. I mean, last week they were hitting on all cylinders, and they really took it to the Cowboys. I don't know if that happens in the frozen tundra. I don't know if that can happen with a rested Green Bay Packer team and Aaron Rodgers. Now, the Packers historically have not really had that much success in terms of winning it all when they've had that week off or playing well in the divisional or championship, NFC championship game. But this is a different season, a different year, and I just think that Green Bay is going to be the team that emerges somehow, some way from the NFC.
Well, I hope you're right about that because I thought that was my lock of the playoffs. So I would send it in because I am ice cold. I don't know if you caught the opening segment, John.
I did, Defo. I feel for you. Yeah, when Lubie can go and get numbers off the ground and just throw them together and walk away with a fistful of cash.
Yeah,
that's when you know you've got issues, right?
Oh my God! I mean, I really am tempted to take a fistful of my mother's ashes with me, put them in my pocket, and maybe visit some spiritualist out there in Las Vegas or a TV evangelist that's been exiled to the desert, and just see if they can do anything with it, and maybe reverse this jinx. I had Meatloaf in the Deadpool up until Betty White checked out, right? So then we redraw names, and I have like Terry Bradshaw now. Doesn't he look fine to you, John? I mean,
it's fine to me.
He does.
And he got the hat, he's got everything going. He's outside in the cold.
He fakes
he's
you
laughing
out a little bit though when they go for the live shot, and he's got the cane, and he's wobbling a little bit. He's fine. Terry looks great.
Yeah, but he's only in like the 10th round at best. I mean, and they're going 15. So I have no shot with Bradshaw, and then I happen to be like waking up in the middle of the night to the news that Meatloaf checked out, and I'm thinking, wait, Meatloaf? We redrew. I have Bradshaw. So, stuck
not even
again.
in the Deadpool. You're
Deadpool,
cold as ice.
I'm cold in life and I'm cold in death right now. That's how bad it's going for me. But and this line moved in the other direction, and I'm looking at a series of handicappers in the New York Post. They have like 9 guys picking games, and 6 of them like the Packers in this game. The line moved down to 5 and a hook from 6. So whatever money was coming in to help balance the books there, it was coming in on San Francisco. And I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with the way they finished that ball game. Were you?
Not really, but that's going to happen when you have teams that are kind of fringe teams. I was thinking about this yesterday and the day before about the NFL this year. Normally, when you have a bye week, you've got 1 or 2 teams that clearly are better than the others. I don't know if you have that this year. I don't know if you have a clearly a dominant football team that you feel like you can roll out, whether you're home, whether you've played so well during the season that you have that advantage of home field, or you can go on the road and just start slaying people. Come out of the depths of 5.5, 6.5, 7.5 points where there's a clear difference in roster and talent and record, and you go on the road and you beat somebody in the playoffs. Buffalo, to me, has the best chance because they just have that mojo with them. And Kansas City was so low early compared to their standard. Now they've gotten so much better since then, but they're still a team that I feel that they're a little wounded. I still think you can get them somehow, some way. And if there's a team to do it, I think it's the Buffalo Bills, because when they turn on their A game, and if they do, it's better than Kansas City's. I think they have something about them that they're more of a cohesive team. They complement each other a little bit more than Kansas City.
See, I'm a big Mahomes fan. I know we were talking about that. I like to see this kid do well. He was such a delightful story.
Yeah.
He was lighting it up. I mean, he made the game exciting, and he says and does all the right things. And he's got that kind of, different sounding voice. So, he's just a lot of fun. And
He is.
when he's playing, it's a high wire act in the circus. It's just absolutely great. And they're marching up and down the field. But it's kind of like when Milli Vanilli realized that they were out of sync with the song at the stadium. I mean, it's just not quite all there. Yeah, I mean, one of those underhanded laterals that goes for a touchdown last week, all of a sudden that thing deflects off one of his own guys' rear ends, and you have the butt fumble all over again. It seems like he's been involved in several of those kind of clown plays also. Including early in the game against Pittsburgh, when he did his usual thing, run into his right, and he's going to throw it back into the middle of the field. You know how dangerous a move that is. You're throwing a ball blindly into traffic,
Yes.
and T.J. Watt ended up swatting the ball in the air, and he put them on the brink of disaster early in that game. Now they rallied and were magnificent, but they seem more vulnerable. I mean, maybe it's an illusion what happened with Buffalo last week, but they clearly put on the best show and demonstration of anybody that played in the postseason, and that was against Belichick, not a guy that's accustomed to having his nose rubbed in the in the stuff that's on the ground.
Those are the types of games that you can kind of stay on a roll, and that's why I said that Buffalo might have the best chance going on the road and being able to beat a really good Kansas City team in a tough environment. That's the other thing. You have a quarterback in Josh Allen, like Mahomes. Mahomes is going to scramble, get down. Josh Allen's going to scramble and run over you, and people are going to go the other direction. Now, somehow, some way down the road, Josh may get into trouble, but not right now. I think defensive backs are shying away from trying to knock him out because they're just bouncing off of him. And on a cold night, cold day in Kansas City, I just think that could be a difference that keeps Buffalo in the game. When you think Kansas City's going to take over, all of a sudden another running first down by Josh Allen keeps the offense on the field. They find a way to get points, and now they're hanging around. It's the second half. It's the fourth quarter, and they've got the ball with a chance to win. I just feel and see that scenario happening because of the type of player on both sides. I think Mahomes keeps going, keeps scoring and gives Kansas City that electric opportunity to score all the time. Josh Allen, I think, is going to have the ball with a chance to win at the end of that game.
I love this talk, man. John Congemi, Dateline Dolphins with us here, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill here on Ion Channel, ionchannel.com. You can find us by Googling the Defo Show, streaming audio, and having a great conversation last night with Jack and Amy. They say the audio is killing it, so that's good. Doug does a tremendous job there, yeah. And the video's coming around, exponentially growing with each and every word that we speak here on the program. But no, good to be with you. And if you look at Kansas City, also, I mean, it struck me, they had, I mean, power on all sides of their offense. They could hit you in the face with a haymaker, whether it was Hill or Kelsey dominating the game. I didn't see as much of that. And with all due respect to the city that your alma mater is in, Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh wasn't a team that was going to be able to put any pressure, real pressure, on the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they got their first touchdown on fumble, and then they didn't score until late in the game when it was already, garbage time. But the Bills are going to be. I think they're just going to be able to administer, immense, relentless pressure throughout the ball game, unless they somehow go south, overnight. Which, I mean, it's weird how that happens in especially the NFL, John Congemi, where you'll see like a complete reversal of form sometimes from one week to the next.
that's where you have to rely on the guy that's handling the football, every play. And that's elite play at the quarterback position. Even though weather tends to get into the, factor of winning and losing, and home field advantage does as well as you get into the playoffs and you get deeper into the playoffs. It's usually, Kyler Murray laying an egg that kind of shows you where your team's at. You didn't think that was going to happen, but when he threw the grenade out of the end zone and you kind of waltzed into for an easy touchdown, that game was really over. They could have waved on both sidelines. So, you know what? We've had enough. We're good. We're going to take it to the house. And that's how it really comes down to, in my opinion, when you take a look at the quarterbacks that are remaining in the playoffs, how solid and how confident do you feel if you're the home team that your guy is going to be able to play and outduel a defense that's coming at you with maybe a couple different wrinkles? Do you trust him? Is he going to protect the football? Is he going to make that off-the-cuff play that kind of separates and gets you the momentum on your side? Or do you have the guy that's more of a, I'm depending on the defense setting up field position. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm not going to kind of color outside the lines. I'm just going to run the offense. And if I've got a better team than yours, I should be able to win in the end. I feel that with, Tennessee. Are they going to be able to color outside the lines now with Derrick Henry coming back with play action, getting those explosive plays in the offense, where Joe Burrow's got the cape on, he throws it off, he's just coming at you. This is a guy that's going to be an aggressive young quarterback like most that are left, in the playoffs, other than Brady and Rodgers. He's going to go just try to make plays with his playmakers because he knows his chances are limited. If they don't create turnovers against Tennessee may have the ball for 30 plus minutes if they're rolling. So it's one of those games and one of those situations where you go, okay, is my guy going to be able to make enough plays with his opportunities, or is Tennessee going to play keep away? That I think the storylines in these games in the playoffs are intriguing because you have a lot of shifting and movement in terms of veteran quarterbacks, young guys that are still trying to prove it, and defenses that have been solid and some have been exposed.
John Congemi, Dateline Dolphins here, taking a look at the upcoming weekend of NFL playoff games on a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on ION Channel. A couple of things. I know Lubie has some questions for you, John, but I couldn't help but think, I was convinced that you talk about a quarterback that can go out there and just be a common denominator, metronomic throughout, and keep the team from going into any kind of a negative slide. I felt that way about Danny Boy, your good friend, Dan Marino. 1985. I still, the pain, and I mentioned my mother's ashes. I may have to take another fistful to compensate her tragic feelings about the amount of money I lost in that game. Convinced. Does Dan Marino? I don't like to make you pry into Dan's personal life. Does he have a voodoo doll of Jay Brophy, the linebacker? Well, literally, he was spinning like a dreidel there as he was trying to cover Roger Craig and Wendell Tyler, running back out of UCLA, and he could not stop them. And Walsh was having a field day going, you see, this is the offense I designed, Shula. And that was it. But
you talk about
I thought he could do it. I thought he could carry him, yeah.
You talk about bad matchups. Just think, if you think through now with the lens of 2022 and you go back and you look at that game, there's no one on the roster of the Miami Dolphins that were going to cover those guys coming out of the backfield, right?
No, not Jay Brophy. No, it was for sure. And I like Jay. Look, he was a UM guy. Everybody wanted the Dolphins to draft UM guys, so they took, I think Brophy was a second-round pick. I don't know. It wasn't like he was Zach Thomas out there, but man, I've never seen a matchup, exploited to that extreme as San Francisco did that day in the Super Bowl. Otherwise, Danny probably has a ring and doesn't have to answer that question for 40 years.
Right. San Francisco did what in a microcosm way, like what Danny used to do to other teams with Tony Nathan and Jim Jensen and Terry Kirby, just option routes underneath. Send the big guys or the Smurfs down the field and think that you're going to stretch the field. And now you've got all this room underneath. And the Dolphins defense didn't have answers that day. And unfortunately, that was the heyday. You look back at some of those San Francisco teams or Pittsburgh Steelers or Dallas Cowboys, when they had their run, they were elite. And that's when you look at this year's slate, you see very good football teams, but I don't know if any one of those teams are elite. Any one of those teams, you could make a case for the other, how they're going to win and how they're going to take down the favorite. And in that game, I don't know. I think Dan and the offense would have had to score in the high 30s or 40s to have a chance.
That was ugly. I think like Jimmy Cephalo had a touchdown catch in that game, or ran a kickback or something. And that was about it. The money was up in smoke very quickly. And my mother's anxiety, lasted all the way till, she finally went to that great casino in the sky. Before Lubie gets in here with his question for you, John, and any of his theories, what's at stake here in this Tennessee game. And no sportscaster. We were talking with Ian Eagle on our Believe podcast yesterday. No sportscaster wants to be known as being dead wrong about something, right? So, Lubie has proclaimed, like a lot of people did. And you would hear this all over town, right? Ryan Tannehill will never lead a team to a Super Bowl. Right? So that was said over and over and over again. I don't know if I was on that side of things, but I probably would have been inclined to believe that. And Lubie was screaming this for years, right? So now what's the worst thing that could happen is that Ryan Tannehill is literally like 2 games away from taking a team to the Super Bowl. He almost got there before with this Tennessee team. Yes. And I'm not convinced. I don't know which way to go in that game. That one, I'm not sure what Cincinnati's going to look like in that ball game. And they didn't even need Derrick Henry, Tennessee, to continue what they were doing. But if Lubie has to eat his words, he is rooting so hard for Tannehill to have the worst game of his life. So that years after he was making these ridiculous proclamations, totally denigrating the name of Ryan Tannehill, he even made fun of his wife, I think. And, and he just doesn't want to be wrong. And yet it's very possible. I don't know. What do you think? It's hard to see either Tennessee or Cincinnati beating the emerging winner from the KC game against Buffalo.
I agree with that, but I will bring the caveat that if Tennessee plays their game and doesn't turn it over on offense, they're going to be a tough out. I just think that with their running game, they can keep the opposing quarterback, the opposing offense on the sidelines, and they win time of possession, and they're really good in the red zone. They have great play action to rely on with tight ends that are capable, and I think that keeps an offense on the field. It wears down an opposing defense. And that's where Ryan Tannehill can be effective. You saw without, minus the Dolphins game when they ran for about 800 yards that day in Nashville. It's one of those teams where when they hit the skids, they're not going to score a lot of points. They're going to turn the football over. They're not going to be as high percentage on third down, and they're going to be exposed. But when they can control the line of scrimmage, when they can run the football effectively, they get to their play action. They've got talent on the outside as well, not just with tight end and running back. That's where they're in their strike zone. And when Tannehill starts to get in a more of a rhythm thrower, when his back foot hits and it balls out, he doesn't expose the football. He doesn't take sacks. He's athletic enough to get out of the pocket. When he has timing in the offense, that's when they're at their best. When he holds the football, when you don't have the running game and you can get after the quarterback, that's when Tennessee's offense gets a little bit exposed. So if Cincinnati can somehow early withstand the line of scrimmage, if they can bow their necks on defense, make Tennessee punt the football, win field position and get a lead, that's where you want to be if you're Cincinnati. I think if you're chasing, you're okay because you've got the firepower of Joe Burrow and I don't know. Jamal Chase could be rookie of the year with the numbers he put up. But I just don't know if you want to be chasing 2 touchdowns or 10 points or 13 points. You'd like to have a 3-point touchdown lead and make Tennessee get out of their comfort zone.
I like the bowed neck reference because we were talking about that with relation to horse body language. And of course,
that's right. That's right.
I'm on the coldest streak of my life, John. And so I actually texted a friend of mine, a very, influential guy in my life in a very positive way. and great supporter of the programs that we do. And there was a horse called Dan's Victory. The guy's name is Dan, right? So, and I see the horse come on the track, and he has the bowed neck, and all of a sudden the odds are dropping. He's like 6-1, 5-1, 4-1. So at the last second, as they're going into the gate, and I prayed that he did not get my text in time to get down any action on this horse, because Dan will send it in with both fists. I mean, he has a little bit of guilt. And the horse ran dead last. I mean, not even a respectable dead last. I mean, it was such a dead last that you would have thought maybe they euthanized this horse on the backstretch, but it didn't work. But I appreciate the reference on a Degenerate Friday. This is your first appearance on a Degenerate Friday show, and you're getting into the spirit of things right away. All right, Lubie, I don't know. I probably did I blow your question there by throwing Tannehill out there. Because you knew John was going to say, something along the lines of, as long as he's not a Dolphin, he's got a shot.
No, John sort of answered. I was just going to talk about the game because we've seen the Titans now. There's sort of a trend where as long as they're playing a decent team, not a good team, they can ride King Henry, and he should be decent enough, and Dante Foreman's good enough where they can ride the run game, limit Tannehill, and they win these games, and especially even in the playoffs. So my question is, are the Bengals better than a decent team and good enough to actually take away Henry? Because to me, the Bengals are up and coming. And I like when you watch the NBA, you always see this. The young teams, it takes a couple years to get through, and then they grow, and then they're there. The NFL, I don't know if it's exactly like that, but the Bengals, to me, feel like a team on the come up. Not that they're there yet, whereas the Titans really got to get it done now, or this thing's going to get broken up at some point sooner than later. Well,
Lubie, I think the one stat you want to look at is third down in terms of how Tennessee does converting. Are they 3rd and 4? Are they 3rd and 3? Or are they in situations where it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 11 because you have a negative play on 1st or 2nd down? If Cincinnati's defense can win the line of scrimmage early in the game and kind of force that 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 2, or hey, it's 1st down, it's an 11-yard run. It's 1st down, it's an 8-yard run. It's 1st down, it's a 6-yard run. And now you have options for Ryan Tannehill. Yeah. You're not kind of going after him as the defensive coordinator, playing man-to-man on the outside on A.J. Brown and trying to win, the tight end battle with your nickel or your tight end on the inside. I think those are the things that in that game in particular, down in distance for Tennessee and for Cincinnati on defensively will be very important through the first 30 minutes of the game. Because when you're running in at halftime for that 10-minute break and you look up and you see 17-7 Tennessee, that's a bad trend. Because I don't know Cincinnati has the firepower to come back, but that gives the advantage to Tannehill and that offensive line and that running game. But if it's 17-14, if it's 20-17, if it's something within a field goal, or if Cincinnati has the lead, I think you feel pretty good about their chances.
Lubie's worst nightmare, man. I mean, it really is. Ian Eagle hit it on the head. He said nobody wants to be known and exposed as a clown and have to eat your words years later. Tannehill taking a team to the Super Bowl, it's a cinch. How many wild conversations, though, did we have? I mean, John, you're here in town with us in South Florida about Ryan Tannehill and his relevance as a possibility to be that franchise rock and foundation of a quarterback. And then you would watch an exasperation as he played for a zillion different coaches. I will say this. I mean, there was a time, I remember ESPN Classics when they
yes.
had, I don't know what happened to that channel. Did they just dump it?
And put went the way of the Ocho. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they based it around a lot of boxing. So naturally, being a boxing fan, I didn't mind watching these fights that I've seen like 30 times and watching them again. And they went on a real cruel streak where they had somebody beating the shit out of Jerry Quarry every night.
Oh, God.
Every night. Like one night it was
I
Joe
thought
Frazier.
There were multiple Jerry Quarries when I was a kid. I can't be the same guy.
He's fighting.
This guy's getting the crap beat out of him like every night by another legendary heavyweight, and it's night after night. And that's kind of how Tannehill was. People forget the first few years that he was running behind. What would it be? The porous offensive line of the Miami Dolphins, a situation that remains unresolved as they interview new potential head coaches. And I remember I saw him get the snot kicked out of him like in his rookie season in a preseason game. I mean, he just got pulverized, and he's on the bench, and he shook it off. And I thought, you know what? He doesn't look like this kind of tough guy, but the kid was tough. I mean, you have to give it to him. And as a converting, from another position in college, that's not easy, John.
No,
you were playing quarterback from Pop Warner.
He's a terrific athlete, and he's got a very live arm. He has an NFL elite arm, and it just took him to get the right system, the right marriage, the right people around him. I mean, I would put the argument up to Dolphin fans. Who would you rather have right now? Would you rather have Tua going, into this situation of next year, or would you have Ryan Tannehill? I don't know.
Say it, Lubie. Go ahead.
I'd rather have Tua, but I mean,
man, listen to you. You're so.
Tua doesn't have.
I bet if you had a poll, it would be close to 50-50.
I would say Tannehill, yeah, but they're looking at this Tannehill with this situation. Okay,
right.
Good.
So maybe Tua is a better quarterback in Tennessee's situation.
That's what
you don't know.
Oh, that's Lubie's theory, man. You're just feeding. Did he?
I'm just trying to get him.
Talk to you before
I want
the
him
show?
To smile. I'm trying to get him to smile.
Oh, he's a sourpuss in the morning.
I'm stressing out.
Tannehill goes to the Super Bowl. He looks like a clown.
Thank God we're not going
to. Thank God there's no archives of these conversations that we had. Yeah, he'll never do it. He'll never take him to a Super Bowl.
Every day for like.
Which I don't know. As you stated, he's a component of a team that a lot of working parts have to be in place. Whereas the superstar quarterbacks are capable of overriding. Sometimes subpar play by the rest of the guys on the team, and Tua and or Tannehill probably aren't either of those guys. I like the old joke, right? And they tried everything, right? They had Joe Philbin and Adam Gase, the quarterback guru, and didn't they bring in a guy Mike Wallace who runs like a 3.9 40?
Yeah.
Okay, like huge money, and we had different general managers, and the old joke was that Ryan Tannehill is the one guy in town who could really overthrow Cuba. Because he was overthrowing everybody else. It didn't matter
early
how
he
fast
was.
they were.
But that was one of the components of his game that I think has gotten much better, even when he was in Miami, was being able to put enough air under the football. It was more of a line drive, and he was. Yeah, you're right. The West end zone at the old Orange Bowl couldn't have held some of those passes, right?
Yeah, like Flipper would have been grabbing them, jumping out of the little above ground pool there.
But that's one of the. I got to give him credit. That's one of the things he did improve on, and now he throws an excellent, long ball.
All right, we're going to get down to some brass tacks here with John Congemi here and go through these games and see what he thinks. I don't know. Did you have a lean then? Tennessee and Cincinnati. It sounds like you're like me. You kind of want to make a case for both sides.
Yeah, well, I would probably lean towards Tennessee only because they're home and they're rested, and it seems like they should win the football game with Henry back. That's where I would be leaning. Yes.
All right. So Derrick Henry, it was weird. I had looked up. I fell upon it by accident. A stat that Tennessee and now you have to factor in the extra game. But they actually did better on the ground, or as well or better on the ground without Henry as they did with him.
Yeah,
everybody thought they were ruined, remember? And then they dropped a couple of games as they were kind of scrambling around trying to figure out what their new identity was going to be. And it turned out it was their old identity with this guy. Now where did he come from? Is it Foreman? Is that the guy's name?
Texas.
Yeah.
He was a G, actually. He was supposed to be great as last year, and he was sort of because Texas was sort of. The guy's really good.
Deontay Foreman.
He looked like George Foreman, man. Mowing down some of those stiffs when he made his comeback at 50. I mean, just incredible on the Tuesday night fights. All right, we'll get into some more detail on these other games. Interesting. I think we share similar opinions, John, which
scary.
Should I just go upstairs and get the whole box of ashes?
Yes. I don't know, Defo.
I'm going to just throw them at the camera here. Ma, help me. I need help. I mean, meatloaf. Check. I chucked a whole turkey meatloaf that the Mustang had bought from Whole Foods last night. Which you don't even want to look at the price tag, right?
No.
Whole Foods is the wife there.
Check.
Yeah. I mean, you're an epitome of what a healthy guy should look like, John Congemi. I mean, nobody could guess your age. You could go to any carnival in the country, and the guy'd be way off. Way off, right? Your dad too. I mean, it runs in the family. It's good blood, so I would imagine you eat, healthy meals. But I mean, do you ever turn the wife loose at Whole Foods?
It's tough. I have to go in there first and kind of go.
Yeah.
I'll get the coffee. You do the rest.
Does organic mean small, like especially small?
Yes.
What? That's right. It probably should be on a small type on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Organic means very small portion.
Well, and also, I guess, it relates to the Hall of Fame. I guess the tabulations for the Baseball Hall of Fame will be revealed today. And you had, like, the steroid boys there on their last year of eligibility before they have to wait, like, another 20 years until they're older than Casey Stengel was when he checked out,
Yeah.
To see if they get into the Hall of Fame. And Bonds, there's a picture of Bonds in my New York Post today. Literally, you talk about a shrunken head, John. If there was ever evidence that something was going on, this guy's head is half the size of what it was when it looked like you could have drilled a couple of holes in it and used it to, take down a 10-pin. Yeah, so I don't know. What's your thought about that?
I don't think those guys are going to get in. I think they're going to have to wait another amount of years to get in, right?
How do you feel about it, though? I mean, as an athlete that played pro ball, I mean, what was your feeling about
I don't know
the whole steroid issue?
I thought in that era, everybody was doing a little bit of something, and you still have to physically hit the baseball out of the park. You still have to do all those things. Maybe it helped you in terms of your ability to stay on the field and when you were having that edge. But I think everybody was looking for an edge for a lot of years, and it went undetected. So I don't know. I think those numbers, the way those guys played for the amount of years and what they've done, they should be in the Hall of Fame.
8 7/8. That's what I would say. I mean, how did the guy's head grow? I mean, and then shrink back to its original size. You didn't realize how skinny this guy was. I don't know. A guy goes from hitting 30 home runs a year to 70 by the All-Star break. I have a feeling that there was something up there.
I just like looking at Bonds in his Pirates uniform compared to San Francisco.
The Giants.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, all of a sudden, he's Schwarzenegger out there on the West Coast. It's incredible. All right, well, that'll be decided, I believe, later on today. And there are some that feel that Clemens and Bonds might be among those that become inductees. So that'll give us something to talk about in another pandemic. We could survive like whatever is next here.
Right.
Like COVID-19. COVID-22 could come along, and we would have material forever. All right. Plenty to talk about with the NFL playoffs here. It's a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. John Congemi, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I can't wait to get down there, John. I know we discussed maybe like middle of February, right after the football season. We could sit down with JJ. It was fascinating last time, and could you find a more perfect environment to unwind? Or this weekend going to be a fabulous place. I know the Raiders got knocked out, so that means the focus will be on what's actually happening there with the customers in the bar instead of yelling and screaming. And it's going to be fantastic to watch the games right there in the sports bar at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
Yeah, that sports bar turned out incredible for the entire NFL and college football season. And I know the numbers are great down there in terms of people enjoying themselves and people having some fun, and they can go from the sports bar to the tiki bar and just kind of relax. I can't wait to go down there and talk with Coach and have you guys see what they've done since we were there in the late summer. So it's going to be a nice weekend for people to enjoy themselves, obviously, at the Big Chill. First-class service, first-class food. I have family members, my brother and sister-in-law down there taking great care of everybody, along with Larry, who owns the Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. So can't wait to get back down there. I know Tom's working on that so we can get out and enjoy what everybody else seems to enjoy on their Saturdays and Sundays, and that's kicking back and relaxing, having a cold one, and just kind of watching the views from the bayside of Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
It's funny. I can't help but think of it because you do get that kind of wry, subtle sense of satisfaction from Jimmy that the Cowboys have been buried ever since he left there. and the anguish of Jerry Jones has escalated to the point literally where we were saying that they were putting electrodes to his head, when they have the shot of him in the box. And our friend Ed Berliner, a local broadcaster here, had some national acclaim, put up a picture of an anguished-looking Jerry Jones after the loss to the 49ers, and he had put a caption up. He's surrounded by reporters because he does the post-game press conference. He's the guy they go to. You don't even know who the coach is, right? Hey, McCarthy, you in there? Are you still taking a dump? Okay.
I'll
Jerry.
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and he was asking, for captions to that picture, and I just put up Jimmy who? The exasperation on this guy's face, and Jimmy, you could just see the wry smile of Jimmy as they got knocked out of the playoffs again with a team that they thought not only had dynamic offense but was much improved supposedly on defense. So that was particularly satisfying. But Jimmy, I always love talking to him about that because he seems to get such a kick out of it. While not saying, while saying all the right things. Well, Jerry's the smartest guy in terms of business I've ever known, but he didn't know a rat's ass about football. It's great. All right, we'll get into these games in detail. Mark Lawrence also scheduled to join us here on a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, so we'll get into some numerology on the games. And the Gambling Gourmet, I'm thinking this, John, with Mike Mayo. He's very good at handicapping games by the city's food.
The food. That's what I wanted to get back to. Yeah.
So I guess Nashville would be what? Skyline chili? I mean, like tasteless chili on badly made spaghetti?
I think Cincinnati's
not Cincinnati, Skyline chili, yeah.
Crappy chili.
So yeah, Nashville's going to win on that one, right?
Right.
So I think you're on to
have
something.
Some barbecue in Nashville, right?
They barbecue. They must have good barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they have, it's better than Skyline chili. I mean, they can have dog food.
And Kansas City wins hands down over the Wings, right? In Buffalo.
Oh God, and wings are good. But
yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, the Anchor Bar, man. That's the origination of the chicken wing. Wow. I mean, do you go with the founding fathers in that one, right? I mean, KC didn't invent a barbecue, but they're very good at it.
Right. Yes.
But they invented the chicken wing in Buffalo.
Yes, they did.
And how many of you consumed Lifetime? Think about that for a second.
Thousands, millions.
Who would ever think to eat that? It's like, who thought to eat the first lobster? Right? Would you? I mean, you say, hey, look at that thing, man. It's got claws and everything and tentacles. Yeah, why don't we eat it? And then it turns out to be a delicacy.
Pretty good.
That's what they did in Buffalo. All right, we're coming back with more of Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. John Congemi, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Can't wait to get down there. Mike Lubitz here on Eye on Channel. Mark Lawrence going to join us later on. Have a couple of picks on the games for you of the 4 on the slate over the weekend. And the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, joins us as well here on Eye on Channel. Just Google the Defo Show. You can find us streaming audio and video around the world. So you saw those quarry fights too? I mean, he was getting the shit beat out of him. I mean, night after night. Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali.
Every day he's fighting.
Like somebody just set me up like on a chain from the ceiling and pound the crap out of me. Poor guy.
I would move in my sleep, like just trying to dodge punches.
Yeah, I know. He flinched. If you talk to him, he said, "Hey, Jerry, how you doing?" Like his head snapped back. It's true. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that
the time
it is 8:08.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Jimmy Johnson joins us here on the program, along with John Congemi, and it's Dateline Dolphins, of course. Leslie Visser, the lovely and talented one.
It was always different. You had to know if it was Emmitt Smith, if you screamed at him, he was going to go into a shell. I wasn't going to get anything out of him for the rest of the day. If it's Charles Haley, he was going to get upset at me and maybe threaten me on my life. And
mean it.
Yeah, and mean it. And he could have done it too, I promise. But when he went into my office, he said, "Coach, just get on to me one-on-one. Don't do it in front of the other players." Now, Michael Irvin, I could cuss him like a sailor. And the more I cussed him, the harder he worked.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo, joined by Lubie on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. A Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, and this is great because a lot of people, very popular, obviously, our Friday show because we're giving out winners all season long, college and pro football. Our handicappers were red hot this year. And we also gave you the appropriate disclaimer saying never listen to the advice of one Mike Lubie, Lubitz, or Jeff Deforrest. Because, as I said, I'm ice cold, so I'm likely to go 0-4 on these football games. So we have John Congemi with us, and he usually joins us every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Always great talking football with John Congemi, or anything for that matter. I mean, guy's versatile, and, it could be our golf analyst also as well during the off season. But always great having John here on the show. All right, it seems to me that we're in some kind of consensus here, without a very strong opinion in this game, that is it not Tennessee that will prevail over Cincinnati? Is that the lean that you have, John Congemi?
That is the lean that I have. I'm kind of pulling. I want Cincinnati to win, but in my mind, I
Lubie
think
needs them to win.
Lubie, you got him. You need him.
He needs Tannehill to look like absolute dog meat.
So happy
in this game, so he can come back proudly on Monday and go, "See, I told you he sucks."
He's average. That's what
this is his mission in life as a broadcaster. Is to tell the people, "See, I told you he sucks," and that's what I love about Lubie. I mean, that's all he wants to do.
So my mind is leaning Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I
okay.
really feel like they're going to win.
Yeah, I would like to see Cincinnati win that game.
That'd be fun.
That whole Marvin Lewis thing. I mean, that was mind-boggling, was it? How he could lose playoff game after playoff game after playoff game. And, because he was kind of a good guy, well-respected, had very good regular season runs. So they always were, a top-notch team in the regular season, very consistent at the top. And, couldn't win a playoff game. I mean, they had as long a drought as virtually anybody, I think. They were in like the top 5 of championship or playoff victory droughts in the National Football League. So
Yes.
it was good to see him do that. I like Joe Burrow, and I think Jamar Chase, you're right. How is he not the Rookie of the Year, John Congemi?
I mean, the numbers he put up, almost 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. And I guess last week he had 9 for 166. He's been phenomenal.
Circus catches, too. I mean, he doesn't – it's not quite as elaborate like where you're tumbling and, doing cartwheels in the air as Odell Beckham was in the beginning.
Wanted
the
him.
Dolphins could have had Jamar Chase and the running back, Najee Harris, in the same draft.
Don't bring up Chris Greer again, because you'll get him started. This little weasel over here in the other box.
We didn't need a running back.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
All right. So now, what's your opinion on this game, Lubie? Same as ours. That Tennessee wins, but we all want Cincinnati.
Yeah, we've talked. We haven't said that part. Who I would root for, but obviously we know who I'd root for. Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, I think Bengals aren't good enough yet to stop that run game. It would be the next round where you have a Chiefs or Bills that potent offense can outduel what Tennessee can do on offense.
And Tannehill goes 24 of 29.
He's going to be great.
263 yards there, 3 touchdowns to the tight end.
The worst would be he goes 22 of 29 for 148 yards.
Yes,
and 3 touchdowns.
Little dink passes here and there. Okay, let's get into some of these other games. So we dwelled on that. I think it's Lubie's obsession with Ryan Tannehill that drove most of that conversation, John. We apologize for roping you in.
No worries.
These ridiculous sports talk arguments. All right. San Francisco, Green Bay. I'm leaning with you. I mean, I think Green Bay is a cinch in this game, which should scare the living daylights out of anybody that is going to bet them, because and the line has moved down to 5.5. I don't know. San Francisco and then trying to close out the Dallas Cowboys, they nearly gave the game away. They had a valiant comeback against the Rams team that, for some inexplicable reason, went dead flat in the second half of their ball game, and so they've shown courage. They have some talent, but inconsistencies of Garoppolo lead me to believe that. And I thought Green Bay was the consistently best team in the NFC throughout the regular season. That was a bit of an illusion. They lost that last game because they didn't really put much effort into it. But nonetheless, I think Green Bay just lays over the San Francisco 49ers in this game.
See, this is scary, Defo. The run that you've been on, it's kind of eerie that I'm thinking along the same lines. This is the one game
you might want to go get some help, like Antonio Brown supposedly needs. I mean, you might want to see somebody in the psychiatric field. Yeah,
I feel awful for myself thinking along the same lines.
Oh man. I hope Mark Lawrence is on the other side of that.
But you're right. I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo coming in this game and making a difference. I love Deebo Samuel. Love some of the auxiliary parts of San Francisco's team. I just think it's going to be one of those bad starts for both teams. I don't know if it's going to be, set the NFL back a couple, centuries in terms of how they play.
These brave young men are here to play a child's game.
I think Green Bay gets their traction, though. I think that they're the better team, and I think it's going to prove itself out over the next 3 quarters of that game.
Yeah, Rodgers had a great season. He really did. I don't know. I think he's not going to win the MVP. I think they'll give it to Tom Brady, of course. And his numerology kind of dwarfs Rodgers, even though Rodgers was extremely efficient and effective all season long. I mean, he made a lot of solid plays when they were on their run there, and as bad as they looked in that opening game, I thought, I saw a lot of Green Bay games this year for some reason. I guess they were featured a lot because of Aaron Rodgers and the fact that they were winning. And I mean, they looked sharp to me. They looked sharper than the Tampa Bay Bucs did overall throughout the season. And I guess accordingly, they're the number 1 seed.
Well, and they have a strong run game, and that's the thing the Bucs don't have, especially without a Fournette. So that limits a quarterback's numbers, right? Like if you're running the ball well, you don't have to chuck it all around. So yeah, Rodgers' numbers are less, but they look more potent and they're more balanced, as a lot of people would say.
All right, on my mother's ashes, John. So we're going to lay the points with
Green Bay. It's not
with
good.
Green Bay in this, seeing an annihilation. I'm in agreement with you and Lubie.
Both of you.
What are you saying, Mr. Chalk? I mean, what do you think?
I agree. It's not
Green
good.
Bay. I don't think it's even close this game. I just don't.
I don't like the trend, guys. Go ahead. Let's get to the next
No. I
one.
mean, so far we picked the two favorites, so that's a kiss of death, also, Mr. Loser, Deforrest. All right, here's another one. A very confusing game. The steam seems to be with the Rams, as Tampa Bay is installed as only a 2.5-point favorite now over the Los Angeles Rams playing at home. Lubie will point to injuries that he claims has decimated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Rams come in off, a very impressive win over the Arizona Cardinals, who a lot of people and they made Kyler Murray look like a fool, like a clown quarterback in there, like you had brought in Brian Hoyer all of a sudden on an emergency contract, and he was going to start up, but he'd only been in town for a day before he got to meet the coach, and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. But they made him look that bad. So what do you see there? Rams, Tampa Bay. Rams now having to crisscross the country, which is not always the easiest of things to do. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kind of been sitting there at home, resting on the laurels of a blowout victory over Philadelphia.
It's hard to bet against Tom Brady. It really is. But I do think that the Rams are a team that are capable of going on the road and beating Tom Brady and the Bucs. The way that Cam Akers has come back from that Achilles injury and added a dimension to their offense that really helps Stafford and being able to have some semblance of a run game. I just think that the Rams are the team, the way they play defense and their defensive front, if they can get after Tom Brady, if they can find a way to limit the big play, and I think they can, because they're going to force the football to come out of the pocket quickly. They have the recipe to be able to go on the road and defeat the Bucs. Now, will they do it? I think this is going to be a really, really good game down the wire, but I think it's time for somebody to dethrone Tom Brady and the Bucs, and I think the Rams are the team to do it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people agree with you, and I want to agree with you. I would like to see the Rams do something, because I like their team, and I like McVay, and his whole style. Now everybody knows this, right? It's cliche that if you knock Brady off of his spot, they were counting Mississippi's, the Philadelphia Eagles. Is the Tampa Bay offensive line, I mean, obviously, built specifically for this purpose, to take a guy whose mobility has to be limited. Although, John, the only guy that looks younger than Brady in his 40s is you.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I wish I was in my 40s. That would be terrific. Hey, you know what, Defo?
Get out of here. You're out of your 40s? I mean, I was going to go under.
I'm
I was
closer
thinking,
to 60 than 40, that's for sure.
Oh, my God.
Hey,
that's enough.
Listen to this guy.
I rest my case. Look at this guy.
At 34.
Hey,
what the hell?
The offensive line for Tampa Bay got beat up last week. Put that into the equation. The offensive line at Tampa Bay with Wirfs getting beat up a little bit last week
are out, and that's what Defo. I haven't
okay.
So
Lubie was right about this.
Pressure. You've got Aaron Donald in the middle that you can move around. I think it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough game.
We're worse than Boomer Esiason, Phil Simms, Bill Cowher here. I mean, but we're picking the upset. I'm going to go with you, John Congemi.
And
say Rams in that game against Tampa Bay.
That's not good. The three of us.
I was just kidding, Defo. Leon, I love Tom Brady.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen Tom Brady get spooked, in a ball game, and then he gets into that whole thing where he's exasperated on the sidelines and he's throwing helmets and he's, throwing iPads and cursing out coaches and going and screaming at guys. And I'd like to see more of that. Even though I am a Brady fan, he has won me over with the way that he's conducted himself and comported himself the last few years. I always liked the way he operated, because he didn't seem like the most gifted and talented of athletic specimens. But, wow, I mean, does anybody have a better head for this than Tom Brady? They always talked about Peyton Manning. But how Brady's doing this, with whatever limitations old age have put upon him, he's still extremely effective, which is amazing.
He's gotten better. I think he's gotten better over the last since he was probably in his mid to late 30s to now.
Yeah. 44 years old, huh? I think you got him beat, Johnny Congemi.
This is it.
No, I got to get that personal trainer, whatever his name is, Guerrero. I need to get him over on the east coast of Florida to help me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to have your own personal guru with you. Don't eat that. right? It's called a wife. That's what you
I was
do.
gonna say, I wanna
Take a break. Take a break.
Yeah.
I want to pound
All right,
these
last
chicken
game
wings.
here, and this is the best one on the slate in many people's opinion, including mine. Buffalo and Kansas City, a real toss-up. Thinking if Kansas City, as you were saying earlier, John, on the show, if they have that magic thing working, they're very tough to stop. And their defense was supposedly improved, but I'm not sure they're not vulnerable. And the Bills and Josh Allen, man, they have been literally like the Buffalo Bills of old, just like swashbuckling their way in there. And and they started to come on at the end of the season, and they've kind of carried that to a crescendo. Which if they didn't peak last week, then I would have to think KC's in trouble.
Men, circle the wagons. The Buffalo Bills are going to go on the road and take down the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that this is their year to finally get closer to winning a world championship. And I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to get to the game, but they have the ability to do so. And I think they have the mojo right now and the belief that they can go on the road at Arrowhead and beat Patrick Mahomes and that defense. So I like Josh Allen and the Bills in this one.
Oh, geez. I feel sorry for you, John. I really do.
Well, at least I think Chiefs in this one. So one of us will disagree.
Oh, good. Okay.
I have a weird feeling the Chiefs are being sort of forgotten. And
Defo, are we 4 for 4? And Lubie?
You convinced me on the Rams on the show. And Lubie's in on the Chiefs on this game. So we have a shot there.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least, okay. I feel better for Lubie.
At least we didn't pick all chalk here. And you're getting a 1.5 with the Buffalo Bills also in what could easily be a pick'em game, because it does loom as a toss-up to me. The home field, what would be the one distinction that heavily favors Kansas City, but I don't know how heavy that is, because Buffalo, that last game was as impressive as any we've seen by any team in the NFL this year. Is that fair? I mean, I know you're only as good as your latest film, but that latest film was exceptional.
Pretty darn good.
All right. Speaking of pretty darn good, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Let's give him one more shout out, because your brother Dominic does a tremendous job there. And Mayo's going to join us in a little while, the Gambling Gourmet, and he still hasn't tried the Italian Fisherman Pizza. And he claims to be like a pizza expert, right? Which I believe he is.
Mike down there. Maybe Mike joins us in February when we saunter down to the Keys and go to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I think that would be terrific, because
that would be nice.
He's going to enjoy the pizza. He's going to enjoy whatever my brother Dominic makes for him, because all the food down there is off the charts, really, really good. And that sports bar, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the sports bar this weekend with these 4 terrific football games from the National Football League. It's going to be a great atmosphere. If football's not your thing, you kind of just go to the tiki bar, order your favorite drink, and put your feet in the sand or in the pool and look at the views on the bay side of the Keys. It's just a special place, and can't wait to join you guys down there in February.
Super stoked.
All right. We're praying for you, John, after this.
Thank you. I can't wait to talk to you guys next week, see how these games turn out.
When Meatloaf checked out last night, I realized that I had him in the last Deadpool, but then when Betty White died, that, caused a redraw, feeling. And I draw Terry Bradshaw. I mean, please. And then like 2 days later, the guy dies. Unbelievable.
Loved people. It's like people that are you really rooting for their death?
No, but if they die, somebody may as well benefit, right? I mean, is that not good? Some millionaire checks out. You're hoping he leaves you a little piece, no?
Lubie, I haven't played baseball in a long time, but if I'm with Defo on all 4 of these games, I may take the caller and go over. It's a bad week. It's a bad weekend.
I don't think we're going 0-4. I really don't. Green Bay would be my big pick, and I know when Mark Lawrence joins us next, he's going to love San Francisco in this game for some reason.
Well, maybe you got a longer show. You could you can go the other way.
I hate to go against the brilliant numerology of a Mark Lawrence, but and you hate to go all chalk, but at least we do have 2 underdogs, so we're 2-2 with the chalk and the dogs. And maybe we got them all. I mean, let's be optimistic about this, right?
Sounds
what do you say? Plane crash on the way to Vegas? I mean, don't board the plane. That's pretty much the way my luck is running. John, we love you, man. You're a great American. I can't believe you're in your 60s. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're zeroing in on your 60s.
I'm zeroing
closer
in. I've
to
got
60.
it locked in. That's right.
Okay. Well, it's still remarkable. I mean, what would you say, Lubie? I mean,
I'd say mid-30s.
Brady
makes me sick.
Brady has nothing on this guy. Brady looks like he's 19.
44. Yeah. Like he's not in his 50s.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That used to be the Mendoza line for men. Now it's 60, where things start falling apart.
40 was yeah. Oh man, your dad's up 42. Oh man, he's old.
Right? Got a little hitch in his step all of a sudden.
Yeah. What happened? He get hit by a baseball bat in the knee.
Well, that's possible if you grew up where I did. You too.
Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're just as likely to, bump into Kelly Pavlik as, a right hand from him as catch a bat to the knee. All right, John, we love you, man. Thanks so much for being on the show and doing this on a Friday. We'll catch you again Monday, and that should be a lot of fun. John Congemi and Dateline Dolphins, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Thanks so much. That is remarkable, man. Congemi, are you kidding me? In his 50s?
He threw me off when he said that one. I thought it was like mid-40s.
Guy looks like a GQ cover model, doesn't he? I mean, just crazy. Threw the rock there at St. Thomas Aquinas here, the #1 high school in town. Big time. I mean, people around the country know of St. Thomas Aquinas. You don't think Nick Saban has his eye on the roster down there? Huh? Goes to the University of Pittsburgh, follows in the footsteps of the great Dan Marino. And to this day, I don't think there's anybody with a closer personal relationship to Marino. Notice he doesn't reveal a lot of detail there.
No. What's his best friend? They're like best friends.
Yeah.
Why would he say anything?
Could he rat him out about the Jay Brophy voodoo doll? I hate you, Jay. Right? Because other than that, I mean, Marino might not have had to answer that question every time he sits down for an interview. Hey, Danny, you were a great player, but would you trade it all the stats for winning one ring? You know the look you get from Marino if you throw that question out there. Some poor fat schmuck from Houston is interviewing Marino. He figures, I'm going to nail him with a good question here.
Yeah, no way.
And Danny Boy, just gets up and walks away, right?
Yep.
Gives him a box of something from Nutrisystems and says, here, eat this. No, but he wouldn't reveal that. I mean, Brophy didn't single-handedly lose that game. The 49ers kind of dominated all the way around, you would have to say. But Wendell Tyler out of UCLA, Roger Craig out of USC. The Southern California boys, which I had the pleasure to watch when they were in college. And they did it, man. They just ran rings around Jay Brophy in that ballgame. All right, Mark Lawrence. Is Mark on board? Yeah, okay.
Yes, but we have to go to a break for that to happen.
I understand it. Mark Lawrence. I've been doing this a long time.
Sure.
That's like saying GFY, right? I've been doing this a long time. I know what I'm doing. Huh? Mark Lawrence, always brilliant. Playbooksports.com. This year has been sensational with Mark Lawrence, I think. Not just because he's been picking winners, but the logic and the theories and all of this stuff. And we like to have some fun. I'm talking about spreading my mother's ashes on the casino floor in Las Vegas there just before I walk in to Bally's. Would that work? Would they allow you to do that? Kind of make a path to the craps table with your mother's ashes?
You just do it. When you just do.
Ma be with me. Ma be with me. Ma be with me. And then you hear those fatal words, right? Just when you've stacked it all in, you have pyramids of chips on the table, color of which you don't even know what denomination they are anymore. You're winning so much money. And then you hear those dreaded words as you turn around and ask the waitress for another cocktail. 7 out. What? 7 out? No. I need you, Mom. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Mark Lawrence is going to join us next, playbooksports.com. He'll handicap a couple of games for us. And then on top of that, we have Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, who I think we go to the methodology, do we not?
Yes, that's where we started, and I like
He loves Skyline chili, though. This guy with this supposed sophisticated palate, Mayo. Skyline chili. I mean, tasteless chili on badly made spaghetti, right?
It's not good. I mean, on a chili cheese dog, it's okay, but it's not, like, good. It's not good.
It's not good on anything. What are you talking about? It's tasteless. People with COVID-19, that's what they should eat because it wouldn't matter that they didn't have any taste.
They'd be missing nothing.
Tasteless. And the most bland spaghetti I've ever seen. And,
I've never had spaghetti. That's stupid.
Cincinnati people, I mean, is there anything else there that they're known for in terms of food?
Oh, no.
Cincinnati?
No,
Skyline chili. That's it,
There's some other chili place that's like Skyline. Those are the two.
My God. I mean, I guess you consider it fast food. You can go in there and sit down. I guess you can at most fast food places.
Chili, after we were making fun of them a few months ago, there's the only one in Florida is right by my parents' house. So I stopped by there.
You went there? No.
And literally, I sat down, got the food, ate, and was done quicker than if I went to McDonald's. It's weirdly fast. Like, weirdly fast.
And go straight to the bathroom also.
Yeah, it didn't sit well.
It's like getting beat cocaine. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Straight to the bathroom, right? You going to come out of there anytime soon? Yeah, you're going to hug the whole bag? It's not that. It's like you got to, all of a sudden, you have to excrete this stuff. No, my one trip in there was very disappointing. You know what it is now? It's like an oil change, a quick lube job place. The classic location here in South Florida. All right, so yeah, we're gonna get. But Mayo loves Skyline Chili, loves it. Would go out of his way to go there. This is a guy that's eating pâté foie gras.
Yeah,
made by some famous French chef, and he's going, well, I detect an odor of whatever, and he's eating Skyline Chili, a scone. Maybe that was the thing. All right, so we'll have the Gambling Gourmet handicap the games via food by the two cities. That's going to be an interesting debate, KC and Buffalo.
Yeah, wow.
I have to give Buffalo the edge there for the Anchor Bar, originating the chicken wing, if that indeed is the case. You think he has some story about it really was invented?
For sure.
Somewhere in a pub in Ireland? Some drunken Irishman said, yeah, go ahead, eat the wing. No?
I don't know.
All right. We're getting lost here because I'm preparing myself for whatever theories Mark Lawrence has, and I always love it. Mark Lawrence coming up next from PlaybookSports.com here on a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, Iowan channel. The Defo Show. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz returning with Mark Lawrence in a moment. Now that
the time.
It's 8:35.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the east side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Mark Lawrence. Burial last night with the hook, the dagger right there in the small of my back. That hook did me in again. I should know better. What would happen to you? We've asked you this before. If you actually were giving points in a ball game, would you be able to live with yourself or look yourself in the mirror the next day?
I would probably be ordering my last meal at the same time.
There is nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
Well, welcome back to the show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, the Defo Show, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, and about to be joined here on the program by the outstanding World Championship handicapper, Mark Lawrence. But I do have to preface this, and some might consider this in poor taste, as and a warning to Mark Lawrence that he's dealing with dead meat here, literally. Mark, how are you, my friend? And we issue warnings as mandated by the FCC that you're about to enter into the degenerate twilight zone.
I was going to say
because I am Arctic tundra. We're talking Lambeau Field type of cold right now. In my last several visits to the racetrack and any selections that I've made, how are you, Mark? Are you okay trudging into what could be shark-infested waters as a hemophiliac?
Well, you mentioned dead meat, Defo, and I thought you were going to go another route here. And one of the legendary all-time singers passed away this morning, Meatloaf, right?
Well, that was the thing, and I was alarmed. I was startled. I woke up to this news, about 3 a.m, and they come off with this flash. And I had Meatloaf, which I wasn't happy about it because I thought he had gone on a health kick. And I had him in the Deadpool, and that Deadpool was taken down when Betty White checked out. Just a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
so
yes.
we had to redraw names, and then there it is. I mean, it would have only been, one shot, no rollover, but I could have used the several dimes that were associated with that, but I no longer had his name. I got Terry Bradshaw, who looks fine, right? What kind of line can I get on Bradshaw? Yeah, you would have to draw enormous odds, for that to work out. So, I was very sorry to hear of his passing, and especially so because I'm so cold that I can't, even when a guy checks out, I can't cash. It's incredible. All right, Mark, and I am tempted. I don't know. Does this work? I'm tempted to I'm going to take a fistful of my mother's ashes out to Vegas and kind of lay a little trail to the craps table and then kind of roll, the dice in her honor and hope to snap the streak. How do you get out of a bad losing streak? You're too disciplined for this kind of stuff, aren't you? I mean, you know how to, kind of take back a little bit if things aren't going, the way that they logically would in the way that you handicap.
Well, it's exactly what you're supposed to do, Defo, is, cut everything back and, take on a hiatus, take a little bit of a break.
Thanks, Mark. Well, are you going to recommend GA next? No, I'm that cold. I just wanted you to know before you give your selections here on the show. You have been hot, my friend.
Yes.
How did you fare last week overall? Because you have been zeroing in on this stuff. Now, a lot of favorites won because there were some lopsided, matchups there in the first round of the playoffs with the expansion. But how did it go in general for PlaybookSports.com?
Well, we split them out on our service basically because, as you mentioned, the favorites, a lot of them won, which was irregular for wild card weekend, but only one dog cashed last week.
That's right.
And so it made the waters a little bit murky, if you will, trying to navigate through all that stuff. But, they're trends. That's what they are. Everything trends positive and negative. And it was a little bit tough for dog lovers last week.
How sickened are you when you see the chalk just running away with the game early? It can't be an easy thing for you to watch. And yet, there were some fascinating aspects to last week's numerology because when Philadelphia scored a couple of touchdowns in what essentially was garbage time there in the fourth quarter, they got to 31-15 after being bludgeoned all throughout that ballgame against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was laying 8.5 in that game, I think, Mark, when it went off at post time. And if Philadelphia could have got, some kind of stoppage, it didn't seem like Tampa Bay was really, and they didn't put up any more points, and maybe generated one more drive and get the 2-point conversion, then people that were hopelessly out of this ball game, that were ready to pop a cyanide cap, all of a sudden get the cover and end up on the winning side.
Yeah, what we saw last week, I think, Defo, was largely a result of expanding the playoffs. And you saw a lot of teams that were involved in the playoffs that perhaps shouldn't have been there, wouldn't have been there in years past. And hence, we found quite a few more blowout type games last week. And it didn't sit well with, I don't think, one, the National Football League, and two, especially for the Sharps in Vegas who like to bet, on live dogs. And it turned out a lot of those dogs last week ended up having fleas.
I know the feeling. Trust me, I know it well at this point. And I'm still concerned about my Vegas trip coming up next week. All right, let's get into some plays here. Playbooksports.com. Mark Lawrence, World Championship handicapper, been dynamite all season long. Has never picked a favorite here on the show, and has a substantial upside winning record from his selections this year. So we'll let you take the stage, Mark Lawrence. Give us whatever you have for our listeners and viewers out there for this week's card of NFL playoff games.
Well, we're gonna tread lightly this week, and it's almost to the same adage of taking back after a choppy week, and we're going to end up focusing on one live dog this particular week, and that live dog happens to be out of the school of what I call "what you don't know will kill you," and it's what you do know or what you can learn that could end up maybe avoiding disaster. A lot of people are going to knee-jerk to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks this week for a couple of reasons. Number one, what they saw last week, as you mentioned, that 31-0 out of the gate, for all intents and purposes, rout over the Philadelphia Eagles. But when you look deeper inside these numbers, you see things that aren't so pleasant. Number one, Tom Brady himself in the postseason has not been a money maker. As a favorite in his postseason career, he's only 17-17 against the point spread. He's also never beat the Rams since he's gone over to Tampa Bay. He's gone up against them twice, and he's lost both football games straight up as a favorite in both contests. And then you bring on the other side of the coin here, Sean McVay from the Rams, he's the best coach in the National Football League in road games in his career. He's 30-14. He's won 30 of his 44 games away from home, straight up on the scoreboard, has Sean McVay. 9-4 to the spread in that role as an underdog. And even better, Sean McVay against teams out of the NFC South, where Tampa Bay resides. He has been a dog 3 times, and he's beat all 3 of those teams straight up without the points. I'm going to look for that dice. I'm going to roll those dice and look for that number to go to 4-0. I'm going to play in this contest here the L.A. Rams plus the points to send Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks packing this weekend.
All right, that was the kill me or let me live. What was the theory on that one?
Well, you don't know will kill you.
What you don't know will kill you. Yeah.
Yes. So now we know.
That's great. And now
All
we
right.
know.
So, anything else you want to lay out there, or you're going to be? You said you were going to be relatively reserved.
Yes,
in terms of your reaction this weekend.
Well, the thing of it is you can also look at the over-under total side of games. People that like to play overs and unders and totals and all that stuff. And last week was really, really strong to the unders in wild card games, and it almost flip-flop reverses to the overs in divisional contests. And you're looking at a game that looks like it might not have a chance to go over, if no other reason because of the weather, but the two teams. But don't be surprised if San Francisco and Green Bay put up quite a few points this particular weekend up at Lambeau Field here. Teams with rest, as the Green Bay Packers have here, do really, really rather well playing in that first playoff game at home with that week of rest, especially against teams that come in off underdog upset wins. Those are very high-scoring football affairs. I think we'll see just that when Green Bay is at Lambeau Field this weekend.
47 points I have as the number, the most recent one I've seen, which I think is yesterday's news, but nonetheless, not an unachievable total there, especially if Green Bay is on its game and San Francisco does anything on offense. Now, what would you say to the person, I'll never forget this, I was listening to like an overnight radio show back in the day when they actually had like live guys on overnight. And, it was a sick degenerate, calling in, and the guy was totally strung out. And he started his phone call by saying, it was Pro Bowl weekend, and I figured I had to get out, right? So the guy was trying to get out on the Pro Bowl.
Oh no.
It's interesting that you said you don't have like an overwhelmingly strong feeling about these games coming up, because it's going to be a little tougher to tell. But what would you say to the person that's thinking, he's stuck 20 dimes for the season, so he's going to go ahead and just roll all of the dice and go all in on this weekend in terms of money management?
It sort of goes to a theory of mine, and it's one that I've used a lot or have professed a lot. And it's basically that if you're going to bet the ranch on a game, you had better have a backup ranch.
Such wisdom. That almost sounds like it came from Asian prophets. I mean, good theory. All right, you know what? There's a safety net out there, and it's all of the statistical data and analysis that you guys do in brilliant fashion here. I mean, why can't you help Joe Biden out with the math so we can get this bill passed here? We can all go back to paying $3 for gas, or $2.50. Playbooksports.com. How can people get themselves all of this information and access to all of the great things you do, Mark Lawrence?
Well, it's everything available, Defo, as you know, online at playbooksports.com. We've got this week's divisional round newsletter locked and loaded, filled with all kinds of great stats and information. Also, our weekly basketball newsletter comes out every Friday, just in time for the games tipping off tomorrow. So check it out all online, playbooksports.com.
All right, always a pleasure, my friend. Brilliant season so far, and we're hoping for the best for all of your selections. And, of course, playbooksports.com. Great, source of information. People are all telling you. You have Mariucci telling you, do your research, right? They got like J.J. Walker telling you, do your research. Well, there's the best research you can find for any kind of trend handicapping available at playbooksports.com, whether you're talking totals, college basketball, pro hoops, whatever it is, hockey, right? Shoot the puck. Mark Lawrence has it. Mark, always a pleasure, my friend. Best of luck to you in the pro games over the weekend.
Hey, my pleasure as always, Defo. You and Mikey be well. Stay safe. Good luck this weekend. And remember, don't bet a lot of games. As Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, okay?
Why did he have to check out now? A lot of people are asking that, but me with even greater interest.
Yes. 2 weeks ago would have been even better for you.
He had to hang on. No, I don't want to do that. That's the nature of the Deadpool, though. I do have Ozzy Osbourne. These things tend to come in like waves of 3, right? Rock stars checking out, sports stars, right? All of a sudden, you've got what? He died? You got to be kidding me. So anyway, am I in there with a shot with Ozzy? I don't want to root for Ozzy Osbourne to die, right? Ozzy Osbourne, are you kidding me?
I don't.
Done enough drugs. Yeah, done enough drugs. It wouldn't be a surprise at any time, would it? Still sad, too, about that whole Bob Saget thing, isn't it? Wow. I saw his wife now, his widow, and she's just broken apart and said very much what we kind of picked up on, that this guy was an even better guy than you thought, by far. It was a real generous and warm, engaging human being, Bob Saget. As he was with us, Mike Lubitz. What away, a couple of schmanks, right?
It was great.
On a radio show, where the guy comes into the studio and goes, "Is this AM? Oh, yeah? Who can hear it? Nobody? All right.
Who can hear it?"
All right. We have a tip on handicapping by way of restaurant from the lovely and talented Leslie Visser. Okay. So we'll get into that with Mike Mayo. We'll see what he thinks. Mike Mayo, Mr. Skyline Chili, as he is scheduled to join us next year as the Gambling Gourmet on a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Food, glorious food. So, and a great dinner last night. And he's not, he hasn't been to this place, right? But he had a negative attitude about it, Mayo. Anthony's Clam House and Bar on Commercial Boulevard.
Yeah, he was sort of, he wasn't like...
The people love this joint, man. It's absolutely great, man. And reasonable, too, right? Because you know how it is. I made one of those Ralph Crandon moves where I said I'd pick up the check, and Amy and Jack said, "Oh, okay." No, they were great. They offered to pay.
They said, "Okay."
I wanted to buy these guys dinner for getting us started here. It was great. But great food there. Just absolutely fantastic. The place was packed at like 7:00. It was amazing. And I picked up the check, and it wasn't it didn't hit the table like a bowling ball, right? It was good. I don't know how he does it, man. But Walter, Great restaurateur. All right, we're coming back with the Gambling Gourmet in a moment here on a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Ion Channel is obviously where you found us, and of course, streaming video and audio all over the place. And then we also, have a couple of other things working here, but you can find us just by Googling the Defo Show. The Defo Show. I don't know. There was some conversation about something with you becoming a big star, Lubie, which, this way you wouldn't have to root for me to get hit by the B bus.
I'm here. If I haven't proven my loyalty by now, I literally left iHeart. They kept me, and I was like, I don't want to be here with you people. I'm going with Defo.
I see you on a cell phone getting the news going, what? On University Drive? Yeah? Got hit by a bus, that fat slob? All right.
If I haven't proved my loyalty now.
Thanks, Libby.
You asshole.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, comes up next in a moment. Now that.
It's like, yeah, finally.
Don't believe him, people.
You're an idiot.
It's the Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. It's one of my favorite places. It is old school joint that's serving Spanish and classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half, Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic, warm sourdough bread. Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
Buy or lease a house and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of old school. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place. And that one place is Catholic Health Services.
All right, so you have the poem. Let's do it.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got DQ'd from the late double. Sorry, no champagne or caviar for you.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, going to introduce you to the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, who has already been a hot topic here on the program. And in terms of people that have contacted us to comment on the concept. And what do you have there? A hand grenade? Oh, that's the Florida avocado.
You should have came down the other day. I was lucky enough to join Mike at one of our favorite places, Even Keel, for the lunchbox. And I too have said a lot of crap about Florida avocados. The
They
Haas
suck. I mean, they're not avocados. I'm sorry.
Well, when Brad from Even Killfish Shack gets a hold of one, you couldn't tell the difference. What he did with that avocado was freaking spectacular.
Yeah, well, as we said, he could take a piece of drywall off, some stack that's outside by the garbage bin, and he can make that taste good. So, don't cloud the issue here. We could buy like 20,000 views for $90 and make it look like we had an audience of 20,000 here, like a certain friend of ours does, and trump it up. But you can't possibly disguise the fact that Florida avocados largely suck. I mean, Mayo, how are you?
I'm good. It was a rough night. There was major flooding in my house, not in the house, but on my block. I couldn't get home. I was at a fancy preview dinner last night in Palm Beach Gardens. But
I like the fact that you volunteered to go to the airport to pick up the guy who was paying a check. That was great. Who you didn't even know, right? You got invited on the blind here because of the food show.
This was a media, dine, a preview event of a place that's open. It just opened up at the PGA National Resort, the big golf resort. But Jeremy Ford, who is a locally based chef, he has a great restaurant down in Miami Beach called Stubborn Seed. He's also a past winner of Top Chef, the big Bravo reality competition. And he is now starring in a new TV food show called Fast Foodies. He's a remarkable guy. He's a great chef, really talented. He also has one of those really charismatic personalities. So, and this Fast Foodies show, the second season starts next week on True TV. It's one of the Turner broadcast networks, and it's a really cool concept. What he does, they have it's 3 chefs, and they do the show out in LA. And a celebrity comes on and names a fast food that they love from their past and childhood, and let's say like a Big Mac or an In-N-Out burger, and then
hot dog,
or an Edic's hot dog. But then the 3 chefs, they do 3 stages. They recreate the fast food item to the best and most faithful of their abilities. Then they elevate it and make it a fancy foodie rendition of the same fast food item. And then the third one is, they call it the remix, where they take the same ingredients and then make it into something completely different, like some total culinary creation. So that's Fast Foodies next week, and I'm excited because Jeremy agreed he's going to come on the Lunchbox next week and talk to us.
I thought he was going to have you on the show, on a TV show. That would be great.
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly A-list Hollywood, California celebrity.
Mike Mayo, big name. I'm telling you,
grade Z Hollywood, Florida celebrity. But anyway, the event last night, it was a free media dine, so I didn't even have to find a benefactor. I just went up there. And, it's one of those nights where they present you this fancy menu that has all the different courses, and it has my name on top of it. And then they presented me my own bottle they had this house old fashioned. They make it as one of their specialty cocktails, and they put that in a bottle with my name on it too. It's
wow.
It was quite the night. And, it was like 5 courses, and it had this like great dry aged steak, and Jeremy's just like, he makes like 4 different sauces to go along with the steak, and usually I don't like sauces with my steak. I'm a purist, but he made one of these. He called it it was like a red wine beef jus. It was like just a really rich reduction. He says it takes 3 days to make it, and you like swipe this steak into this I guess it was a Cabernet jus, he called it, and you dunk the steak through there. It was fantastic. Then I get in my car, and as I'm driving home, I don't mean to bore you, but I got all these texts from my neighbors. Apparently, we got this like freak downpour in my neighborhood, just Dania, Hollywood area, where we got I guess like 6 inches of rain in about 2 hours. And my neighbors sent me a video of one of my neighbors in his kayak going up and down the block. And
it's always bad when your neighbors are launching jet skis.
Never a good thing. And then I was
in the driveway.
Then I knew I couldn't get back to my house because when
so what'd you do?
Bad, Well, I then I was presented
You
with
knocked on the
other
door in the
options.
X. If you did that, you're really living dangerously.
Well, this was already like close to midnight. My ex and my daughter weren't responding to their texts.
Of course
They had
not,
already
because they knew
gone
you
to
were going to ask
sleep.
to stay there. Yeah.
Well, and then it's like, okay, do I just go to the Hard Rock and gamble all night?
That's would
That
have been
wouldn't
the
be
move.
very
That would have been the move.
productive. Do I try to find a cheap hotel and just like
Nah.
crash for 5 hours and have to fork out
Is
$100?
Lucky's still there in Dania? Is Lucky's
No,
hotel?
Lucky's is gone. Oh, look. Oh, that is, yeah, that's still there. You
Stayed
can
there
rent by
many
the hour.
times. So while on various differences of opinion with the wife.
So what I ended up doing is I pulled into a parking lot and I just basically reclined the seat and snoozed
No.
for 4 hours.
Get out of here. What are you, some hippie in a Volkswagen? What are you doing?
It was no other options. And then what I did is at 4:30, I finally I woke up and I went back to my block and the water had receded enough that I was able to drive up in my driveway and get in there. And I got, a good solid 2 hours sleep before I had to drive the kid to her midterm exam.
This is why you don't have to apologize for being a little out of sorts today here. But
I'm
all right,
crazy.
we got some input on what we were going to do with the.
I want to before we get into the handicap.
Well, we only have a half-hour show here, Mike.
I know. It seems like you keep narrowing me down. That's okay. But anyway, I want to bury the avocado thing because my man Jim Sarney is absolutely sick of it. He says enough with the avocados.
Yeah, you keep bringing it up.
I know. I'm really beating a dead fruit. An avocado is a fruit, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I wanted to just take issue with something John Congemi said earlier because I think you were discussing the whole steroid era.
Yes.
And, he seemed a little bit of an apologist and saying, oh, well, you still have to put your, the bat to the ball and blah, blah, blah. And to me, the whole issue is everything is tainted because, you still have to have the hand-eye coordination to put the bat to the ball. But the ball travels a hell of a lot further when you're juiced up. And instead of being a 180-pound stick guy, you're 240 pounds. I mean, it's simple physics that, the more mass that you put into a swing that's the same velocity, the further it goes. So things that were dying on the warning track at 340 feet are suddenly going 400 feet and they're home runs. So all the results are distorted. All the numbers are inflated. So I don't know how you assess that and how you can just say, oh, yeah, the guy belongs in the Hall of Fame because he has X number of home runs. And, never mind all the juice he was on that helped him get there.
No, it's for me, it would be exclusion based on the fact that the guy was hitting 30 home runs a year, and he was a great ball player. Probably would have been Hall of Fame, as everybody says. Same thing with Clemens. Had he never done the juice and never gone to those ridiculous numbers and numerology levels that he eventually was posting while he was 62 years old. Amazing, and they couldn't throw a pitch in the same area code as the plate without Bonds parking it over the fence, and he wasn't that type of player before juice. And if you see this picture in a post of Barry Bonds today, have you seen a recent photo of him, Mike Mayo?
I have not.
His head, I mean, literally is a quarter the size that it was when he was with the Giants. A quarter of the size. I mean, that's impossible unless he went to some spiritualist in Hialeah. How do you get your head shrunk to that level? It's almost impossible. So it had a lot to do with it, I think. And it did taint all of the records for
and it's a shame because the guy was good enough to be a Hall of Famer without the benefit of it. And the everybody that did it excuse, I don't really think that doesn't justify it, and that doesn't excuse it. So
I mean, Lance Armstrong, lives in disgrace, although very healthy from a financial standpoint for being one of the worst sports cheaters of all time, and particularly ornery about it, as was Bonds. All right, this from Leslie Visser, your friend Leslie Visser, and our friend, of course. We thought we might do this food handicapping by city, and I'm not sure if that was even a thing that you had wanted to get into, but I know you are a big fan of Skyline chili, tasteless chili over poorly made spaghetti. And with your sophisticated palate, that seems, kind of, oxymoronic there. And Tennessee, I guess, would be known. Nashville would be known for what? For barbecue, but
barbecue and hot chicken. That's the hot chicken sandwiches.
Oh, okay,
and
there
hot
you go.
Chicken things over the bread. That's their claim to. Nashville also has tremendous food scene, great fine dining restaurants. Husk, Sean Brock is a chef. He's gone back to Nashville. He was in Charleston, South Carolina for a while. But Nashville's food scene overall kills Cincinnati's. But let me speak in praise and defense of Skyline Chili. Yeah, it is
See,
garbage.
This is so out of
Wait,
line for you, Mike Mayo.
Hear
It
me
really
out.
is. Yeah.
It's complete and it's complete and utter garbage. I give you that.
Oh, okay.
But it is one of my guilty sins. It's one of my. It's great hangover food. I was introduced to it the first time by Brian White, who was a longtime sports writer and then became sports editor of the Sun Sentinel. But when we were both on the Dolphins beat, and it was my first year, '89, and we went to Cincinnati for a road game, and he's from Ohio, and he says you got to try Skyline chili, and again, I love pasta. And, I was expecting a big bowl of like normal chili with chunks of beef and beans, but it's actually Greek spaghetti with a Greek meat sauce. So, if
awful.
you think of it that way, and the spaghetti, okay, it's not that good because it's previously made and it's not al dente or fresh house-made pasta.
Listen to you. You're describing it like it was a fancy French dish that you had just gotten from a world-renowned chef. It's garbage, man. I'd rather have Dinty Moore beef stew.
I would not.
I would
not, because the stuff that they ladle on, the actual what they call chili, which is actually Greek
Hormel
spaghetti.
chili is better out of the can.
It's Greek meat spaghetti sauce. It's basically spaghetti sauce with little minced up meat with some Greek seasonings, and they also throw in like a little cinnamon and nutmeg. It gives it this kind of weird flavor, which just throws people off. It makes no sense. It's a horrible thing. But when you're drunk and you go there, and
that's
even
the
when
qualifier. I mean, when you're drunk, you put that in an opening paragraph of your restaurant review. When you're drunk, this place is great.
When you're drunk, or when you're drunk, or
Sun Sentinel editors. Yeah.
When you're drunk or hideously hungover, or just spent the night sleeping in your car because your block was flooded,
I'll give you
there's
that.
nothing more soul nourishing than getting a big heaping, what they call a 4-way. Now the 5-way has beans, and I don't like the beans, but the 4-way is a big heaping mound of spaghetti. You ladle on that Greek meat, what they call chili, and what you call the stuff that you could do an oil change with.
Yeah.
And then they put the mounds of the shredded cheddar cheese, like
Tasteless
a mountain
cheddar cheese. Yeah, I don't know what cow they
of the
came
medium cheddar cheese. Then you put the the onions go on top of the spaghetti and the sauce. Then the cheese, the blanket of cheese. Then you squirt on the Skyline chili hot sauce, and that gives it a little zing. And then you dig into it, and they have some oyster crackers. It is just. It's my guilty pleasure. It makes no sense, but I love it, and you don't have to love it.
Remember when you were in school and you were at a table with like 12 kids, and then you would throw in, and there would be like a little can, like a coffee can in the middle of the table where you would dump all your stuff, like the pudding and the milk, and it would all come together. That's what that sounds like. But here's what Leslie Visser had to say, and maybe this will be a guide for you, a barometer to better handicap this game by way of food, which it sounds like you've got Tennessee in the driver's seat here. And Jeff Ruby's is in both Cincinnati, Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, and there's one in Nashville. And the owner is saying that the fans of the Bengals will be safe there, even though they're trying to keep them out of the stadium. They're welcome at Jeff Ruby's, which has places in both locations. So what do you do with that information? Because apparently that would be maybe like a top-notch place in both cities.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what is it, like a steakhouse where they got
Steakhouse,
some barbecue ribs? Yeah, Jeff Ruby's a nice restaurant. I don't know why anybody feels like they're in danger. I mean, I don't think Cincinnati or Nashville fans have the reputation of being on the same level as Philadelphia or Boston fans.
Hillbillies, Tennessee. I'm telling you, hillbillies.
Unless
dangerous.
they, cough on you and give you COVID or something like that. But I don't really see there being a big danger. And, what are they going to do? Peck you to death with their one front tooth? It's like...
Do we bother going into San Francisco versus Green Bay, Wisconsin on a food front?
Okay, so let's go back. Cincinnati, Tennessee. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. It's a much
obviously,
food town. Okay, and I'm sorry. Oh, and Lubie, I think, misspoke when he said the only remaining Florida location of Skyline Chili. There's several. There's a bunch on the west coast of Florida.
Oh, really?
Naples and Fort Myers have Skyline Chilies. There's only one remaining here in South Florida. That's on University Drive in Sunrise.
The people over there have no teeth, Mike Mayo. That's why they like this stuff.
It's great. You could gum that stuff all day long.
Yeah.
It's,
and if you have COVID, it's good too because it is tasteless. All right.
It's not
tasteless. What can we
tasteless.
offer from Green Bay? Do you have anything from Green Bay? What comes out of there besides cheese curds? I mean, what do you think?
You're gonna have cheese curds. You're gonna have
And what do you
Culver's
do with those?
custard.
I mean, not the obvious, which I would come up with immediately, but cheese
Uh,
curds. I mean, what does
you did
the
cheese
culinary
curds
expert
and
do with them? Yeah.
gravy. No, look, Wisconsin, you got the brats, kielbasa. It's pretty good. Tailgate food, but in terms of actually like wanting to eat the stuff every day,
Yeah.
I say I don't know what the money. I mean, what the spread is on the game, but San Francisco,
The
obviously, one
spread
of the
is now
best.
5.5. Green Bay favored by 5.5.
So on that basis, I would take, and on the food basis,
Take the
San
points.
Francisco wins by 17. That San Francisco would be a
Oh, it's not
17-point route, but
Yeah.
because San Francisco, one of the great food
five.
cities.
What's your
in,
go-to
in
spot there,
America.
if you had to pick one? If you could pick one, or an area or whatever in San Francisco to eat?
Oh, that's an impossible question, but I like a place called Zuni Grill. Zuni Cafe is down in downtown San Francisco. Very good. There's a bunch of places. Actually, a place called Tan Long it's a garlic crab is their specialty. It's kind of a Thai restaurant, or it's a Asian place, but garlic, big Dungeness crabs that they split up for you, and then their other house specialty is house made noodles, like a garlic noodles with the spicy garlic crab. And then, of course, you go up to wine country and you go to French Laundry. It's one of the best restaurants in the world. So,
yeah, I snuck that in. That's very good. I have to say this, and I don't remember the name of the place. I was thinking about it because I was going to get into, the real barometer to measure whether you're getting good Chinese food is not how it compares to New York, but if it's still good in the fridge and tastes great to you 3 days later cold, would be a measuring stick. The best Chinese food I ever had was not in like San Francisco's Chinatown, though. We had to go into some like secret location where you had to go through like different doors to even get into the place. And
now, Chinatown,
and it was in Oakland, believe it or not. And I can't remember the name of the place,
the
but
whole
it was the best I've ever
area
had. Yeah.
has incredible Asian and Chinese food. San Jose has some great stuff. There's a place, one of the suburbs just south near the airport, Daly City, has a place called Koi Palace. It is just packed on a Sunday morning at it opens up like at 9 a.m. because a lot of the Asian families, they go for these big Sunday brunch feasts. But the brunch consists of like all kinds of fresh seafood and kinds of exotic things. And I don't know if they're still making the shark fin soup, but I went there with a group of people one time. It's kind of one of those dim sum places, but you could also order off the menu. But Koi Palace in Daly City is a great place. And then there's it's near Golden Gate, the park, but also on the outer parts of town, not downtown. But there's a dim sum place there that's been there forever. That I always go to, and of course, because now I'm all sleep deprived, I can't remember the name, but San Francisco has great. So anyway, the bottom line is it's a route when it comes to food, and I'll take San Francisco in the 5.5 points. And
I would imagine L.A. versus Tampa Bay is blowout city also.
Yeah, I mean, how a man can't live on Burns Steakhouse alone. That's
did you ever get the free lunch at Mom's Venus? While you're out there with Perkins and the crew covering some event in Tampa.
It's a very expensive free lunch. It's kind of like the mug of the calendar you get at Gulfstream for free that ends up only costing $500.
That's a $300 hot dog.
That's the free lunch at Mom's Venus, because after all the entertainment is done, then you find yourself out 3 or 4 sticks. So
Burns Steakhouse is the only
Did
representative.
I tell you my Mom's Venus story ever? I guess I can tell.
I would imagine it involves Dave Hyde and nudity.
No.
What is it?
He's happily married. No, it was. I was there for one of the Final Fours. I think it was back when UConn ended up winning the title one year. I don't know, it was 99 or something like that. But buddies of mine from New York, his brother worked for UConn as their video coordinator. So anyway, one day we all go out to Mom's Venus. And I think it was a daytime affair. I think we were there it was like the lunch. It was the Mom's free.
There you go, free sandwich.
And we look over in the corner, and there's just in the corner we see like some very attractive young women who were less than scantily clad, but there was like 2 or 3 of them that were doing gyrations, and on like smothering this human body. Like we couldn't even see that there was a person underneath it, but there was like three people. It
Hank
looked like an
Goldberg?
octopus.
Was it Hank?
The three people get up, and who is beneath this pile of human flesh? It looks like a Hieronymus Bosch painting or something like that. But the bottom of the pile was Mr. October himself, Reggie Jackson.
Get out of here. Nice.
Because
I
the
thought
Yankees
you were going
were
to say Hank Goldberg, our
no.
contemporary
So this was
broadcaster down
like
here.
this was late March, and I guess the Yankees were in spring training and they trained in Tampa. So Reggie Jackson,
What a way to
I
get
guess,
ready for
was
the
in
season.
town. So Reggie was there, and my friend turns to me and goes, "Forget about Mr. October. He's Mr. March."
Didn't he traditionally get off to slow starts? Wasn't he a
Not
lot
that
like
day.
Giancarlo Stanton? He didn't start hitting the ball till mid-May. All right, so we have the Rams in Tampa Bay, and that's
Yeah, so
an
LA,
easy one.
obviously,
Yeah.
another great food scene, great tacos and food trucks, and all the great sushi joints out there. That's LA in a runaway route food wise. So
Ybor City doesn't bring them back a little bit with some authentic Cuban food.
It's not bad in Ybor City, actually.
Yeah.
If you put salami on a Cuban sandwich, you might as well put pineapple on a pizza. Just kill me.
listen
No,
here.
no, thank
Wow.
you. Might as
All
well
right.
just slather that Cuban in Skyline chili and do a French
we know
dip.
this, and this is an interesting thing, but I consider
Throw
stuff
some
that is
Florida
of
avocado on it.
a foundational nature to be, important criteria. So in this case of Buffalo versus KC, you're thinking Buffalo is, to put it mildly, a shithole of a city.
No,
And Kansas
no,
City.
okay.
You disagree with this? Yeah. All right.
I happen to like.
Go ahead,
Buffalo,
make your case
for
there, kid.
several reasons. I mean, I would go there a lot. I like it a lot more in September than in December.
Because that's a one day of the year where it's tolerable to go outside. September 16th.
Proverbial blue collar town. It's a proverbial place. I mean, you go all these corner taverns. Besides the Buffalo wings, which let's face it, it's a pretty good product. I mean, they've become popular nationwide. And when you go to Frank and Teresa's Anchor Bar, that's pretty good. And they also have good Italian food there. They make a good mean ravioli. When the game after the Dolphins got obliterated and would get bounced out of the playoffs, me and Hyde and the sports guys, we'd go from the stadium, go to the Anchor Bar and get a platter of wings and then get some ravioli and all that stuff. It was a fine place. And then also beef on weck is their claim to fame. That's the roast beef sandwich that's on the Kemmelweck buns, which is a bun that's coated with a topping of salt and caraway seeds. Acquired taste. Not everybody loves it, but they put that just horseradish on top of the like a horseradish cream sauce or just straight horseradish on top of the roast beef. And that beef on weck sandwich is a mighty fine thing. So Buffalo has some virtues when it comes to food. And this, Defo. It also has tremendous virtues because and this was back in the day before every town in America had a casino. But you could just scoot across the Niagara Falls and go into the casinos right there in Canada and plunge your guts out, and that would make for a nice evening. That's a lot better than being holed up in Atlanta or something like that, where there's nothing to do except read the Bible that they put in your nightstand in your Marriott hotel. So.
First Native American casino I went to was out in the sticks outside of, we were in Omaha, Nebraska. And Sonny Hirsch has said, hey, we got to go to this place. And they're literally, we were driving through like cornfields in the dark for hours, right? And then finally we came to like one neon sign that was at a crossroads,
Right.
which, only Larry Merchant would take. And it was like it had an arrow, and it was Rod Serling was on the sign, and it said casino this way. And we went into this place. I tell you, man. I mean, it was like something that you would see a saloon in the Old West when a guy would pull into town on a horse and go, "Hey, can a guy get something to drink around here?" Crazy stuff. But
I've had a few of those experiences. Actually, outside of Green Bay, there was an Indian casino, and one time I was up there for a game and went to the Indian casino, probably on the outskirts of town, 20 minutes away. And yeah, like you said, it's a little bit, it's not what we're used to, the glitz and glamour of Vegas. Or,
no, not exactly.
even Atlantic
Bally's,
City. Yeah. And yeah, the cigarette to slot machine ratio is like 20-1. Like, so,
yeah. The guys are sitting by a machine and they're smoking cigarettes out of a harmonica. They put like of them, and it's just like taking
they're
a
smoking
giant deep breath.
cigarettes.
Yeah, you think the
out of their-
canes are coming out on the field to play. You know, the way
They
the
smoke
smoke
cigarettes out of their
Yeah.
tracheotomy holes,
Yeah.
which is that's a sight to see.
All right, we've been labeled losers though, Mayo, because Leslie Visser is listening to all of this, and she says that
Wait,
we're complete losers because we forgot about the Johnsonville village.
Johnsonville
in-
Brats?
in Green Bay, that they have like a whole tailgate thing.
Right,
and,
I
and
said
that eclipses the foo-foo nature of
I sang the
what you
praises
find in
of
San Francisco
I
with all
sang
your
the
dim
praises
sum
of
and your soups.
sang the praises of brats and it's the ultimate tailgate food, but man does not live by tailgate alone. So,
But even at a tailgate nowadays, people have like ridiculous stuff. Like I don't need lobster at a tailgate, but I don't just want to eat brats and cheese.
I know,
Like,
and they bring these elaborate setups. Like my man Evan Darnell from Red Meat Lovers Club, he has that auto grill that you just hook up to a propane tank, and you could grill these great steaks just right from the hood of your car. Hey, let's finish handicapping because I didn't get it to
Lubie,
Kansas City.
what was the
Yeah.
name of that blowtorch that Nick Mangold was selling on Radio Row, where you could like blowtorch a steak, and then they would bring the steaks. I was telling Mike this yesterday on a radio show that they would bring the steaks, and they were like perfect. I mean, you couldn't wait to get more. It was one of the few things that you saw on Radio Row that you were just like slobbering down and saying, "Hey, can I get another one of those?" And what was that thing though? I mean, he literally like lit up a blowtorch and cooked a steak in 3 seconds.
That was a torch. I don't remember what it was
Yeah.
called, but it was 100%.
Nick Mangold. Yeah. See if you can
Big-
look it up there, Lubie.
Big
All right,
lighter.
last
Was that
game
it?
here.
Okay, last game. Yeah.
what?
So Buffalo has its virtues, both food and otherwise. I don't hate the town as much as you do. I like those kind of towns that a shot in a beer town. They have those really cool corner taverns. Places like Cleveland too.
Well, if you like to
but-
bowl, also, it's an excellent place
Yeah,
to go. If you
excellent
feel
bowling.
like being
Good hockey
Darren
town.
Carter for a day.
Was it the Burns-O-Matic?
Yes, that's
Burns-O-Matic.
it. Burns-O-Matic.
There you go.
Check that out, man.
Burns-O-Matic. Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
good.
and then KC again, very solid food town, barbecue, steakhouses,
Yep.
good Midwestern corn-fed
Look at Andy
beef.
Reid. I mean,
Yeah, he is
That way.
he's a
poster
he's a
child for the
side of
food there.
beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I would rate that a toss-up. I mean, if I had to spend 2 nights in a place, Buffalo is not that terrible. But overall, food wise, ask yourself this: how much Kansas City barbecue have you eaten in the last year versus how many Buffalo wings have you eaten in the last year?
It's no contest there.
Right. So
I give
before you
Buffalo
go
great credit here.
disparaging Buffalo,
I wasn't disparaging Buffalo on the food front because they invented the wing. All right, that's its origins. Unless we were saying earlier, maybe you know of some pub in
don't.
Ireland where they were eating chicken wings. That's where it started at the Anchor Bar. So for that alone, for being a foundational place.
Yeah.
And something that became, I mean, how routine are chicken wings when you're watching sports in bars or at home or at parties? So I give Buffalo the edge in this one over Kansas City.
I do like a lot of the food and the restaurants and the barbecue in Kansas City, but I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to go with the wing and beef on weck upset here. Yeah.
I could live without the beef on weck, it sounds like, but no, that sounds good. All right, Michael, we'll see you later, huh?
I will be live at Cut Above Butcher Shop.
Sarney, your man Jim Sarney's coming out there.
Is he? I don't know if he's coming. I got a bunch of people coming. My friend Ellen, the poker dealer, who's been dealing with the Hard Rock for this series the last 2 weeks, she's going to come out with some of her crew, and I have another friend in town. So yeah, I'm going to have a nice little lunch. I got to soak up some of the alcohol from last night. They were pouring scotch, like the event last night. The media dine at the new Butchers Club in Palm Beach at the PGA National Palm Beach Gardens. But Macallan was the sponsor. So they were making all these different cocktails with scotch. And it's something you don't really think of. But the first round, they had like kumquat juice with Macallan's, and it made it look like a fruity, girly drink, and with some flower petals on top.
How'd that go
took
down?
a couple of sips and was like, but then the second round, it was
Mint
like
julep,
an
huh?
it was an homage to the golfer John Daly, noted, great past major winner and tremendous alcoholic. John Daly, they basically made a drink with Macallan's and a Arnold Palmer, the mix of iced tea and lemonade. But the way they made the iced tea was with this like Earl Grey extract, and they steeped it for 17 hours. I don't know.
Wow.
It was like a really fancy elevated. And the John Daly is usually an Arnold Palmer with vodka, but in this case, they made it an Arnold Palmer with Macallan Scotch. That was delicious. That I could drink all day and night, and I almost
looks
did.
like you did. Yeah. All right, Michael. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for joining us here. Excellent stuff as always. Tremendous detail on the various cities and trying to find an angle by which to handicap these games, other than logic, which often does not work in these situations. All right, we'll see you later, Mike Mayo.
I'll see you
Thanks
guys.
for being with us,
Hey,
Mike Mayo, man. So, is that a first that we had a guy who slept in his car last night as a featured guest on the show?
We've had guys pulled over while on air. We've had
we've had people being arrested.
We've had wives. We've had many
coming
different
out of strip clubs like Brandon Lang.
Coming in or going out of a strip club. I don't know if I've ever had a guy who just left his car or is still in his car.
I think this legitimizes the show even more so than any previous distinction. That we had a guy who just slept in his car on for nearly an hour on the program talking about Skyline chili. They could put anything in that stuff. Something that tastes like shit. Do I need to repeat that? Yeah. Tastes like. All right. Thank you, Mike Mayo. That was interesting. All right. Mark Lawrence was brilliant on the show today. Our thanks to Jersey Kyle for joining us, trying to help me shake off what has been a long and exasperating losing streak.
So you're going to go right
I don't know where it's going to go. We gave out some games with John Congemi. We were in agreement about Tennessee. I'm not so sure that I would dive into that game because, I think Tennessee will prevail. I really do. But I don't know. 3 and a hook.
I was actually the two games I would actually put money on, and I may talk to the professor, are Green Bay. I
think Green Bay is going to pound San Francisco. Just do.
I have a way now.
I may be wrong, but obviously.
I agree with you on that. And the Rams, with all the injuries the Bucs have, and they got a lot of help last year. I don't care what anyone says. Every game, they got really a ton of help from the refs. I'm hoping that doesn't go over again. The 2 offensive linemen, no Fournette. Evans has been banged up, no Godwin. I think the Rams should win that game. Those are the 2 if I was putting money on. The other 2, I don't know. I wouldn't go near those games.
It wouldn't startle me if Kansas City beat Buffalo, which I know you like Kansas City, but wow, the most impressive team by far. And you could say, well, geez, New England didn't belong in the playoffs, whatever. They made it. They had a nondescript roster with a rookie quarterback, and they got in trouble early in that ball game, so there was literally no chance from that point on. But the way Buffalo poured it on and just, continued to pound away, it was like Rafael Nadal trying to eliminate some qualifier in the opening round of one of these Grand Slam tournaments, where you're saying, it's not even methodical. It's just one-sided from the start. So that was tremendous. In today's NFL, with all the parity that was going on, to run away and hide like that in that ball game, which, it wasn't like you didn't have a representative opponent, was very, very impressive. So they probably bounce off that and lose by 30 this week. We'll see. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Defo Show. A Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Thanks again, Jack and Amy. A wonderful evening last night. Lubie ticketed for Superstardom, and of course, Brad Schiller always does a fine job for us on the technical side, so we're able to bring you the audio and video streaming here on Ion Channel. Google the Defo Show. Thanks to John Congemi, Mark Lawrence, once again, Jersey Kyle Martinez, and the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo. I'm Jeff Deforrest for Mike Lubie Lubitz. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:30.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they've done to my soul.